Hear me? I can hear you. Hello, everybody. Hope you're having a wonderful evening. Let's, you know what? Do me a favor. Go tell a friend that we're doing a podcast. Go tell a friend right now.
Give him Mitch points.
Mitch will give you Mitch points. If you tell a friend.
Mike will give you Mitch
Mike
points.
will give you Mitch points.
Sounds weirder that way.
All right. We're going to get started here momentarily. I should test the audio for you all. And it's turning off the Sonic R soundtrack.
Oh my god. Oh, just opening that. Whoa.
Dude, just pour it out.
No, I gotta drink these. There's 2 left of these skunky beers. It was rough. I'm not gonna lie. Holy shit.
It's upsetting me that you're drinking.
It can't be worth it, man.
It's upsetting me. Clearly, he's like punishing himself, I think, for buying them in the first place.
I am.
Ugh.
Mike, I think seppuku would be better at this point. What are you doing?
It doesn't taste as bad as it smells, which is something.
Oh my god.
It smells pretty bad. Just pour it out. No, it's fine.
We see Phil in chat. Phil in chat says, guys, it hurts.
Oh.
Poor guy. Okay. Let's see.
Hey, Phil, how come you big shot at us for Kinda Funny? What's up with that?
Yeah, what the hell?
Wow, rude.
I saw, I was like, I saw him there. I'm in the Kinda Funny Discord because I've done some stuff there, and I just see P3 has joined the Discord. Welcome him. And it's like, God damn it.
Haha.
Sons of bitches.
Our Discord. You'll love it.
Oh, yeah. I think he's probably already in there, secretly.
I believe it.
Hey, you know, Keely.
Did you guys hear the music when it played?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're good.
Chat should hear that, too. I think we should get started.
I'm ready.
Okay. I'm going to count us in. Sean, I will let you know after the break to come back in and do that. Do the bop quiz.
Yep.
Cool.
Gotcha.
All right, I'm counting us in. Here we go. 5, 4, 3. You're busy. Let's do this. Welcome to the Game S Decides podcast. This is the podcast where we decide everything about the world of games so you never have to think for yourself. I'm your host, Jeff Grubb. With me is
Mike Obi-Wan Minotti.
In today's episode, RedFall and the fallout from RedFall. And then Star Wars. We're doing some Star Wars stuff. We're gonna do a Mount Rushmore of Star Wars games. There's a Benji Bot quiz where we try to get closest to the messy pin by guessing Metacritic scores. Who knows what kinds of games we'll be guessing the Metacritic scores for.
We were told it was a special episode, so I'm going to guess they're Star Wars games. That'll be fun.
First, Mike, how are you doing?
I'm pretty good. Yeah. Work's been hopping off. It's like a little stressful trying to get all this stuff organized for Summer Game Fest. But I'm also excited. I'm going to get to hang out with you. I'm going to get to meet a lot of people in person for the first time. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that. I'm also going to maybe be able to sneak off and do some fun things myself. Maybe I'll go and finally check out that Nintendo World. I don't know. Hopefully I'll have a chance to do that. Yeah,
I think you should make that happen. That'd be fun. Yeah, I've been doing the same thing, answering a lot of emails, keep getting more emails. There are some companies that are going to be there, and they all say it's confidential, so we can't say who's going to be there. Some of it's probably public, but it's like, oh yeah, cool. All right, I want to see those games. It's like,
I will say, I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. Seems like there's going to be some cool stuff there.
Seems like there's going to be some cool stuff.
So yeah, I'm making I'm booking appointments for the entire team, and Mike, I hope that makes I hope that makes you laugh because you know how good I am at planning stuff.
Why did they give you that job?
Here's my new philosophy in life: if you want something done, you have to just do it yourself. And I don't want to ask anyone else to do stuff anymore.
That's fair.
Just going to do it myself. And everyone's like, I'm like, Jan's like super busy editing everything. Sure. Dan is either often in a bunch of meetings trying to make stuff happen, or he's like right now he's off because he's traveling. And they're like, oh, you know what? Let's get this done. Make sure that we're good to go. Backlar's also often in meetings, so I'm handling it. It's like, you know what? I'm just gonna start putting stuff in time slots, and then we'll figure out who's gonna go later. And we're actually gonna get some help from Bailey and Emma too. That's been fun to be like,
that's
yeah,
awesome.
let's get them in there to help us out. So looking forward to it. I've begun like really booking the couch for Giant Bomb at night during Summer Game Fest. That's the thing I'm probably the most excited about, because it's just I think it's very cool to have a bunch of people that want to come and hang out and talk about video games while all being in the same city for a good reason. And it's like, hey, it seems like we can make some magic happen. So looking forward to a lot of it. But you're right, it's pretty stressful.
Yeah. You know what I'm looking forward to, though?
No, you have to tell me.
Tweeting about the show.
I'm in the middle of writing the tweet right. God damn it. I knew I should have finished it. Mount Rushmore of Star Wars games.
That's what you get. That's what you get.
Redfall?
Redfall, yeah.
There we go.
People, I get why they're still talking about Redfall. Wow, I can't believe we're talking about Redfall. That doesn't seem like an important conversation.
It's not like there's literally a Phil Spencer interview yesterday about it. Like, what are we supposed to do?
Yesterday it went up today. Like, yeah, it's literally
right. Yeah, they talk. Yes, exactly. That's right.
I hope I don't have to do I hope at least that kills the whole. This isn't a problem. Like, this is not that bad. He did an Oprah style apology interview.
Yep.
Okay, maybe that's overselling it, but But yeah, I watched that. Hey, by the way, like, big ups to, our friends at Kinda Funny, especially the Xcast crew over there with Mike and Percy and Gary. They did a really good job talking to Phil Spencer, having a really candid talk about Redfall and kind of the larger state of Xbox right now. I got to watch that whole thing, and it was a really good watch. I actually included it in our show notes, everybody, the link to that, since we're going to be talking about it so much. So please give that a view, give it a like, let them know they're doing a good work over there. Kinda Funny.
Timing on that was pretty fortuitous. They really worked out where they could tackle a lot of the questions people have. We're going to talk about a lot of it here. First, though, thank you for joining us. You can get more from Mike and me by joining the Discord at GameMess.net. Give us a good rating wherever you're listening. Hit that like button on YouTube. It helps people find the show. If you want to ask a question, you could drop a super chat during the show here on YouTube. We'll answer all those before the end of the show. Thanks to Carlos Ain, who is Insane in the Rain music on YouTube, for the use of our theme songs. Thank you to 1UP vs. CPU for our artwork. You can find more of him at 1UpVersusCPU.com. We are on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and wherever pods are caught. Thank you to the mods, and support us by going to patreon.com/GameMess. That gets you access to the private channels in our Discord, the monthly Q&A, which we're doing this Sunday, 1 month early access to our Jeopardy games, participation in our monthly Game Club discussions, and of course, all of our shows ad-free. There is a new Jeopardy episode with a Spawn Wave. People should go watch that. That is available now if you're a Patreon member. The monthly Game Club discussion, I'll probably post that up in the feed here. That's probably ready, Sean, right?
It's on YouTube.
It's on YouTube. I'll put it in the feed. All right, Mike. Let's get into these big topics, and really, it is kind of just one big topic. There's probably some other stuff that happened this week, but what I found out is once you start talking about this, you go down this hole pretty fast, and you fall down it.
Fascinating. I kind of can't stop thinking about it.
Yes. Let's start here. Redfall is pretty bad. Redfall came out. It is pretty bad. I can't remember. Did we talk about? Were we able to talk about it last week, or was it the reviews came out Monday?
We talked about it on Tuesday. We just kind of forced it into Nintendogs because I couldn't not talk about it after playing it. And, I don't want to repeat that stuff. It is bad. I don't need to kind of pick at that wound, I guess. But, I don't think there's anything about it that I can really throw up and say, well, at least this is good, or at least this is salvageable. It's rough all around.
So anyhow, right. We talked a bit about it on Tuesday. Everyone by now knows that most people find this game to be pretty bad. I think it's pretty miserable to play. And even the stuff that is okay about it it runs into stuff that is really bad, and it makes that stuff feel bad as well. And the shooting, some of the guns are actually straight up bad as well. That burst rifle, it was like so confusing to me. I did not understand how to even use it. Anyway, yesterday on Kinda Funny, Phil went on Kinda Funny yesterday. The episode went out today on the Xcast. He did a big interview where he addressed a lot of this stuff, and one of the first things he said was he apologized for the game. I got some quotes here. I'll throw into what we're doing. We'll kind of discuss some of these things. There's nothing that's more difficult for me than disappointing the Xbox community. I've been a part of it for a long time. I obviously work on Xbox. I'm the head of business. I have a lot of friends and get a lot of feedback. And just to kind of watch the community lose confidence, be disappointed. I'm disappointed. I'm upset with myself. We do mock reviews for every game that we launch, and this is double digits lower than where we thought we would be with this game through those reviews. That's one of the disappointing things. We would never strive to launch a game that we thought was going to review in the low 60s. It's not part of our goal. And then he pointed out, he's like, if you look at our games from last year, like they've been reviewing better and better, and then this happens. And okay, he apologized. I think that's not too surprising. We'll get into some of the other stuff he said about like what's going to happen with Redfall. I'm not going to ask you if you buy the apology, but do you buy this thing about the mock reviews? Does that sound right? Like they didn't fully know that this was going to be a low 60?
It's hard to say because even if they're off by double digits, that could still be a game in the mid 70s, which isn't great, especially in like, hey, whatever. That's okay maybe normally. With the sort of expectation of this being Microsoft's first party AAA release since like what, Ghostwire Tokyo or Halo? Like
you're right,
Ghostwire, one of those.
Yeah, Ghostwire Tokyo I guess does count. Yes, but
which wasn't that big of a deal. Also kind of missed itself. Right. Just the context, it's bad. But even man, I would like to read those because honestly, Jeff, like even where it is right now on a Metacritic, like in the low 60s on Xbox, I think like high 50s on PC. Even that seems almost a little high to me. Like that's almost kind of being inflated by, there's always some people who do come out, they like the game. That's fine. It's not about, I'm not trying to attack any of them. But I am surprised that there wasn't even a lower general consensus, which is how much about this game is one, performs badly, and then two, doesn't feel good to play. I would love to see those mock reviews because
I know.
I right, like I would love to see what they held up as, well, this is the good part of the game that people are going to like, and this is why it's going to be a 70. A 70, and that's what I assume he's saying, is that they thought it was going to land at 70s. It seems optimistic.
I have a friend who's a mock reviewer, and they've played a lot of the games that are coming out right around now. They're no longer a mock reviewer. They played a lot of the games kind of that are coming out now, and I can't remember if this was one of them, but they're very good at like spotting like, no, this game is rough. It's really bad. And I'm like, oh, it's probably not going to be that bad. And it comes out, I'm like, all the things they said were right. And it's like, I tend to be like, oh, some of these mock reviewers really know what they're doing. And these consultants are really on point. I think though that it's totally possible the mock reviews are coming in mid 70s in that range, maybe even high 70s. And they probably thought the game that I think it was probably pretty easy for most of people at Microsoft to believe because of this other point. I'm going to jump down here a little bit. They just were not that involved with this game, it sounds like. And that's by Phil's own admission. So he was saying that Microsoft wasn't there for Redfall and Arcane and Harvey, who was the lead director on the game, Harvey Smith, who's done a lot of really good immersive sims. He said, when we acquire studios, there are games that are in development, and then there are things that are really early in development or not even conceived yet. I think we need to improve in engaging with games midway through production when they become part of Xbox. This is what I've heard. If you read, I think some of Jez's reporting, he's heard the similar thing, and now Phil's basically just saying it. This game existed when Xbox took it over. Xbox sort of looked at it and went like, oh, okay, and then did not engage with it in a way beyond providing funding to ensure that it would that it could meet its whatever expectations or meet it, even its potential or anything like that. And so it's like, okay, they were pretty hands off. And I think that in itself is a problem. And he in this interview, he basically addresses every single point you might bring up. He's like, yeah, that is a problem. We're rethinking that. But I mean, what do you think about that, Mike?
It's, you first hear about this hands-off approach and it almost sounds admirable, right? Like that is great. Just let the studios do their thing.
Yeah, I'm sure it works for Double Fine and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, but you got to have some kind of pulse on things. And I mean, of course you want to let studios do their thing, but it is shocking that there's not at least a little oversight to kind of make sure things are going well, or that you're going to release a game that reflects well on Xbox, because that, we are already there. It's kind of funny how fast that happened, where Bethesda games are just Xbox games. Yes. That is just so heavily associated with that brand. And maybe there was a time when they first acquired the studio and they like, here's everything Bethesda's working on, and they see Redfall and they're like, yeah, okay, whatever, that's not that exciting. Maybe they knew then that would be like their one big release in this giant span of time. Maybe right then they would have invested more in it or looked out for it more. But yeah, exactly. It just reflects poorly on the brand. You got to keep a better eye on these things. You can't let something, especially your first $70 game. And I hate to keep harping on this, but just imagine if instead they just positioned Hi-Fi Rush like it was a AAA game, because I think the only difference there is actually perception.
Yeah.
Is actually just not having marketing, just dropping it out of nowhere, saying it's a $30 game. Because I think anybody in their right mind would struggle to explain to me why Redfall costs more than twice as much as Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah, and it's I think you mentioned that thing about like the perception changes when they become Xbox, and that happened to me pretty much immediately with Bethesda, and it was definitely part of the perception with this game. And I think that's maybe where some of the disconnect between the reality versus the mock reviews, where the mock reviews is like, if this is a game coming from a Bethesda in the past, it would get around this, and people would not be like having such high expectations, and the expectations were way higher. And again, Spencer himself said exactly that. We didn't do a good job early on in engaging Arcane Austin to really help them understand what it meant to be part of Xbox and part of first party, and use some of our internal processes to help them move along that journey even faster. I mean, he does go on to say like people have higher expectations of first party games, but they know that they have higher expectations of first party games, and then on top, then they don't do the stuff to ensure that it gets that love that a first party game is going to need to stand up to that scrutiny. I mean, there's your problem right there. I feel like that's it. Fix that, and then you'll be in a much better place. Now, the obvious question, Mike, is, well, what's the next big thing? Starfield, right? Is Starfield going to suffer these big problems? He was quick to point out, Starfield we did get involved with early on. We have been holding its hand. We have kind of like cared for that as a first party title. It's like, man, that's great. Why the fuck didn't you do that with Redfall? And again, what I heard is they just didn't care. They saw Redfall early on and they weren't thrilled by it, and they sort of were like, we're not worried. We're just not going to worry about that. And I'm like, I feel like you kind of can't do that with a game that you're putting out under the Microsoft gaming label.
Just cancel it right then. And
yeah.
I know that's hard. That's rough. And that might not have made you a lot of friends. And maybe they were afraid of looking like the bad guy at that point. I don't know. But if you're not going to help see that thing through, if you're not going to sort of shepherd it, and, look at a Psychonauts 2, which was something that kind of fell into their laps and wasn't even going to be an exclusive for them, right? It's coming out on other platforms. They were able to help give them resources. They were able to help them do things like put boss fights in back when it seemed like that might be something that was going to be off the table because they were going to run out of money. And it comes out and it's great. And even though it's on other systems, it reflects well on Xbox. And this is just the opposite of that. Starfield. There was a bit there, and I know I said in the past, I think that game's got to be 60 FPS, and people were like, no way, it's a Bethesda game from Todd Howard, and those games are never 60 FPS. It feels like that was then. This is now, Jeff.
Yep, you're right.
Mike asked him. He didn't ask him, is it going to be 60 FPS? He says, is the messaging going to be clear about whether 38 FPS or 60 FPS? And he goes, yes. And Phil Spencer specifically talks about how he's upset at how they presented Redfall at 60 FPS and then it came in at 30 FPS. So that's a problem, but it still feels like it's very high on Phil's mind that 30 FPS makes your platform look bad.
Yeah, and if they are holding the hand of this game so much, isn't that one of the big things? Now, with Redfall, it's an Unreal Engine game, and it's like you have a lot of really good Unreal Engine developers. You have the Coalition.
He literally said we should have sent the Coalition to help. He specifically said that.
Right, and it's like apparently they came in too late is what happened. I finished that interview after I did Game This Morning. He did say that, and it's like, man, that's something that's like early on, Unreal Engine, you need to help people spot those problems immediately because it's going to take time. You all know this. And it's that's again, it's the frustrating thing about Redfall, and it's you hope that these things won't be a problem going forward. And based on what he's saying about Starfield, the expectations are again that these won't be a problem. Like they've raised the bar immediately back up. Like, you might have all been like, okay, maybe Microsoft is kind of a mess, and they don't. No, he's like, no, Starfield, it's not a mess. So okay, all right, well then you better deliver. It better actually, you know what? It better be 60 frames per second actually, or at least have an option to get there on console. It's like, okay, are you sure you want to be doing that? That's what they're doing. All right, fine. We'll see. But like, it's going to get judged harshly again. I think Starfield always destined to get judged pretty harshly. But as a Microsoft first party game, it's going to be pretty tough for that one, and it's going to have a hard time. One last thing about the mock reviews before I forget, and I did ask around about it a little bit, and people mentioned that when mock reviews happen, they get the most stable build available at the time. And then they also get a list of known problems. And those problems, the mock reviewers usually operate under the assumption they will be fixed by launch. And it's like some of the things that are just fundamentally wrong with the game could have easily been mistaken for bugs that would get fixed. For example, bad AI and empty worlds and stuff like that. You're like, oh,
but
there's
how
no
can
one
you
that's...
even judge a game assuming it has good AI? That's just such a different thing. Man, even with some of that stuff working, I just don't know. I just don't know about Redfall.
And I think it must have got a little extra benefit of the doubt, but yeah, that's yeah, I agree. So there's so much repetitive content in there that it's hard to say. All right, let's see, where are we at? He did say, like, okay, so Redfall, all these problems, and he gave some examples of how they're addressing each of those problems that anyone might bring up. He did push back against one thing where he's like, hey, people say you have these teams that are good at making one thing. You should have to make more of that one thing. And he's like, he doesn't believe in that personally. And he points to examples of, the Evil Within studio making Hi-Fi Rush and Obsidian making Grounded, things like that. And there's some other examples. He was like, but with Arcane, we're going to want them to keep wanting to do what they want to do. And if it's something different than what they've done before, we're going to keep enabling them. And I think that's probably still right. You don't want to pigeonhole these studios. I think that's actually kind of how you burn through these studios pretty quickly, which is something Microsoft's been guilty of in the past. I think you want to be an enticing place to work, keeping the talent happy. And one of the ways to do that is, hey, no, you actually can be your creative selves here. It's just, it is something like, oh, okay, if that happens, then all that guidance that we just got done talking about needs to be part of the process. And you got to imagine that's going to be a big change at Microsoft because it just hasn't been the case so far.
Yeah, no, sure. I mean, I think that's absolutely true. I don't know too many reasonable people who would really disagree with that.
Yeah.
I guess, maybe I counter, is Redfall really that different? I mean, it's a first-person shooter with RPG elements.
Yeah, it's like, it's Borderlands light and Far Cry very light.
And they told us it was going to have these immersive sim elements, right? They told us it was going to be more like their other games, and then it kind of wasn't.
It just wasn't.
So there's another expectation problem there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But, when people said, hey, is this, what is this like? Is this like a Far Cry? Is it like a Left 4 Dead? At first, the message was just, it's not Left 4 Dead. And maybe they should have been much clearer about, it's Far Cry 3, that style, maybe a little bit of Borderlands, I suppose. The messaging was always a little hard on this. The messaging was, here's a 3-minute CG trailer of people cracking jokes and fighting vampires. And then by when you play the game, the cutscenes are actually going to be like still slideshows. Gosh, I'm sorry. I could just keep going on about all the things that sort of bug me about this game.
I was kind of playing on my Steam Deck, and that gave me some maybe some of this stuff is like this because it's running kind of crappy on the Steam Deck. And then I booted up on the PC, and I'm like, no, I think I don't like this at all. And then I talked to you, and you were like, hey, Jeff, I hate this. I'm like, yeah, all right. Yeah, it's kind of all clicking in place for me, too. I think I hate this, too. I don't hate it. I strongly dislike it. Let's see. Here's okay. So it's okay if we shift the topic to something a little bit more broad from this interview, Mike, or do you still have anything else to say about Redfall and when we talked about Redfall?
Well, I guess just this idea, and he's committed to fixing it still, it sounds like,
that's
right?
Right. Yes, that's right.
He says that, Arcane is going to, they're gonna make patches, they're gonna try to do good here. And it's admirable. And of course, I guess you gotta do something. I just don't know, if that juice is gonna be worth the squeeze, and how long are you gonna be stuck squeezing, man?
Yeah, I think I've said a bunch of times, I don't think it's worth it. I ran that poll on Game This Mornings. The majority of people don't think it's worth it, but that can change quickly if it becomes obvious that it is worth it. But standing here right now, I just don't. It doesn't seem like it's ever going to actually get to that point. And I think going quiet for a while and coming out with something new would be would be even better than going quiet for a little bit and then be like, here's the big update to Redfall. I mean, who's going to want to go and give that another whirl? It never even really had the promise of a No Man's Sky, right? Where it's like, oh man, a No Man's Sky that works the way they said it would work, that would be incredible. And
right. What is the promise? I mean,
exactly.
I don't know. I guess the promise is that you're going to go fight zombies in an open world and
vampires.
Yeah, I guess I'm not zombies, vampires, whatever the hell. That's what you do. I guess that is there. You do in fact do those things. It's just not very fun or interesting.
Yeah, Epic Open World says they they sold a season pass, they have to do some stuff. I mean, if he's all he's saying is we're going to meet the obligations of our season pass, which doesn't sound like what he's saying.
Is a season pass? Ugh.
If that's what he's saying, it's like we're meeting the obligations of the season pass, then he basically is saying what we're saying: do the season pass and then move on. If that's what they're doing,
because is that where this idea? Because I've heard people say like, oh, they're going to release 2 more characters.
And
yeah,
that's
the
new
last thing
supposed to come. Yeah,
that game needs to be better. Is 2 more playable characters. That is so far removed from the kind of content that game needs to look any better or play any better.
Yeah, I think it's I think they need to make each of those characters that are already in the game fun in the first place. Like that's where they're at right now, and that just seems so far. Yeah, we're repeating ourselves. Okay, so switching up a little bit, he talked about sort of a philosophical argument that he hears a lot, where just make great games, and then the Xbox can compete with PlayStation in terms of console sales. And he says he doesn't necessarily think that's the case. So basically, just making great games won't change Xbox console market share. While claiming that the console is the core of the Xbox brand, Microsoft's head of gaming has reiterated that the company needs to focus on the wider gaming market if it's to be successful. Spencer was asked if the Xbox has taken its eye off the console market by focusing too much on PC. In response, Spencer said Microsoft would be wrong to think that just building great console titles could help it overtake Sony and Nintendo in terms of hardware sales. Instead, it has chosen to pursue a different strategy to the Japanese companies, one focused on fulfilling developers' visions of enabling customers to play their games on any screen. He said, we're not in the business of out-consoling Sony or out-consoling Nintendo. There isn't really a great solution or win for us. And I know that will upset a ton of people. And his reasoning for this essentially is, I see commentary that if you just build great games, everything would turn around. It's just not true that if we go off and build great games, then all of a sudden you're going to see a console share shift in some dramatic way. We lost the worst generation to lose in the Xbox One generation, where everybody built their digital library of games. So when you go and you're building on Xbox, we want our Xbox community to feel awesome. But this idea that if we just focused more on great games on our console, that somehow we're going to win the console race, I think that doesn't really lay into the reality of most people. So what he's basically arguing is, during the PS4 generation, people chose the PS4, and then they bought a lot of games on the PS4, and a lot of those games carry over. Some of those games being live service games like Roblox and Fortnite, that are games those people still play today, and they played it on PS4, so now they're playing it on their PS5, because that's where all their stuff is. That's where their friends are. And even when there's some cross progression, the momentum's already there. So getting them to sell their PS5 because Starfield is an 11 out of 10, an example that he gives. If it's 11 out of 10, they're not going to go sell their PS5. Mike, I have thoughts about this, but when you hear that, what do you think?
There's a lot to unpack from that.
Yeah.
Because still, like Mike was basically, it's basically asking him if they're second guessing their overall philosophy, this kind of play anywhere philosophy, and saying, hey, maybe you guys need to retreat back to consoles and get that ship sorted a bit. If Phil Spencer basically, kind of fought back and said, no, we really believe in, PC, we got to make sure stuff's available on PC. He was rocking that Asus ROG in the background, clearly making a statement with that on his shelf, that portable devices like that are going to be important in the future. And the whole great games don't change anything. I don't want to read too much into that. It's not like he's saying we don't need to make great games. Of course they need to make great games, or else no one's going to play on the Xbox platform no matter where it is. I guess my biggest takeaway from that is, man, they're really taking that last generation hard. That's something he still brings up.
I think he's right to say that getting someone to change their mind from the 50 to 500 games. Some people really invested heavily last generation, and the generations have a continuity that they never had before. There was always a great reset. This is complete opposite. All of that momentum is still there for each console. So I think he's right to identify that the person who is already invested in the PlayStation ecosystem is unlikely to change their allegiance in such a way that they drop PlayStation for Xbox. My thinking here is that this shouldn't even really be a concern, because of course not. What you need to be doing is focusing on making great games to make the Xbox as enticing as possible. And yeah, I think he's making a specific argument against what Snowbike Mike was suggesting there, for sure. But I think it's important for him to be distinctive about, okay, yeah, sure, but here is all the reasons we need to be making great games. And yeah, sure, we're not going to get someone to sell their PS5, but we could get someone to buy an Xbox Series X or S for the first time ever if Starfield is that 11 out of 10. And then they have multiple consoles, and they're not going to build their whole library there, and that's going to be an uphill battle. But maybe they do get Game Pass. Like, that doesn't seem like such a tough thing to pull off. So I kind of, it sounds defeatist, and I don't know if that's what he intended it to sound like. Probably not, but it does sound that way.
It did sound a little defeatist, and that's why it struck me. And look, it's not a great week for him. And, you know, you do have to give him some respect for going on Kinda Funny and talking about this and talking about it honestly for 40 minutes. Not everything he says is going to be a great answer. I think this is one he wishes he could take back and word differently, especially the great games quote of it. Because it sounds like, because I mean, if we really follow that logic, it's like, well, we were never going to be able to compete with PlayStation, so why bother?
Yes,
right?
Yeah.
And that can't be that look. People see that. Well, then they're going to buy a PlayStation if they think that you're not up for competing with them. And look, I know that PlayStation 1, that last generation, they still sold a lot of Xbox Ones. There are still a lot of people in the Xbox ecosystem that have built their libraries on the thing. You can grow that, and you can, do that by making great games, by keeping them happy. Or there are a lot of people who will get both, Jeff. I know it's not everybody, but there are a lot of people who will use their disposable income on an Xbox in addition to their PlayStation if they think there are a lot of good games on there that they can only play on Xbox, and if they coincidentally aren't into PC gaming, I guess.
Yeah, it's I want to hesitate before we take it the completely way in a way that he didn't intend. But I think you're right that the way that it's framed, at least from a glance, from the way people might read the headlines to the way that the pundits that he's talking about who want let's go back to cartridges and the console war. I think they are going to read it in such a way that it's it feels like waving a little bit of the white flag. And I think he does mean it in a more nuanced way of, we are not trying to, like you said, out console PlayStation. We have a different strategy, and we're going to stick to this different strategy because we think it has our long-term best opportunity. And I think I agree with that. I just, I would have, if I were him, immediately followed that up with all of the reasons why it is important to keep making great games. And
MVG on Twitter said,
yeah, thanks.
Our friend MVG said, I don't think Xbox needs to build great games to win the console race. They just need to build great games. And Phil Spencer replied and said, well said and true. Right. And I think that was just a clarification he would have liked to have made then. Because again, of course, he's not saying, well, we don't need great games, so why bother? I am a little surprised that he thinks it wouldn't move the needle, or he would say that.
Right. I think it's a game of small percentage movements. I think this is something we talk about a lot on this show, where the things you can do these days they can move the needle. It's going to move the needle 3 to 5%. And there's a lot of money in that 3 to 5% if it's a really big, impactful game. But it's not the idea of one generation going away and the next coming, and then suddenly there's going to be a different market leader. I do think he's right that those days are over. Barring Nintendo being a complete wild card and doing something different with a Switch follow-up that isn't a Switch at all, if they do something like that, then all this stuff's out the window. But when it comes to PlayStation is never going to give up this library of games that people have built, and they're never going to have a reset again. It is going to be this investment that people have made. It's going to go with them for their entire lives, and Sony's going to make sure that they feel like they have strong ownership of that and a strong attachment to the PlayStation platform. And there's already a lot of people, and those are the kinds of people that spend a lot of money on video games. And so Microsoft does have a bit of a battle winning those people over. But I think I just think he knows this, because that's the reason they keep selling a console. If you want to grow this Microsoft ecosystem in the near term, in the immediate future through this generation, it's going to happen by selling Xboxes. It's not going to happen by getting people to play on their phone. It's not going to happen by cloud gaming. I mean, he knows these things. And so that's why they keep selling consoles. So it's in the meantime, you don't have to out console them, but you do need to make the Xbox console the best possible console it can be. And I think that's where they should be focusing.
No, I think you're exactly right.
All right. He also says he's enthusiastic about the Xbox Showcase 2023, Mike. He kind of, he was like, listen, again, he's very good in these interviews, right? Because I think he's either he's well-trained or he's just naturally charismatic about these things. But the way
and he comes off as really candid and honest. At one point, Paris is like, hey, that last showcase, you guys said that all these games would be coming out in the next 12 months. You didn't quite make that. And he stopped them. Like Phil said, no, we didn't it's not that we didn't quite make it. We didn't make it,
Yes.
right? So he is kind of Mr. No Excuses,
And
at least,
I
right?
find that to be refreshing as always. But then he knows to stop there as well. Be like, my talk is cheap. I've talked a lot, and so when I say that I'm enthusiastic about the next Xbox showcase, when have we not said that? When have we told people not to wait for the next Xbox showcase? When that's when all things are going to turn around. So he even said it, like, we know that even when we show you this stuff, you're not going to really believe us because of Redfall until you get the controller in your hand. But then all that said, he did say that he is enthusiastic. They're going to have new announcements. They're going to give updates about many of the games that Paris mentioned, which were, the Perfect Dark, Avowed, Fable, Everwild, things like that. He didn't say all those games would get updates, but he said many of them would. I don't know. I think I think he's done a pretty good job of reframing the Xbox to the point where it does come back to where it was even before Redfall, Starfield, and this Xbox showcase. And if both of those things go well, they kind of can get back on track. At least that's how I feel. I don't know. What do you think?
No, I think you're right. People do have short memories about these things. I mean, it wasn't that long ago when we were in the Wii U era of Nintendo and things kind of sucked over there, Jeff. It doesn't take too much. Now, it did take a lot then. It took a console launch with Breath of the Wild to turn things around for Nintendo. I don't think Microsoft needs as much because the Xbox Series X is a good console. It already is a good machine. It does really just need these better first-party exclusives to get people excited about again. And Starfield can be that. It should be that. It better be that.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know. Any other big thoughts about this before I move on to the one more story before we get to our break?
Yeah, I mean, look, you're right. Like all that, the talk is cheap. We've heard this a lot before from him. We need to see results here, and there really is no excuse for it. He should have made sure Redfall was going to be in position to succeed. There should have been more help there. He could have also just told Arcade, you have to release an apology tweet, and I'm not going to say anything about this, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It could have been that song and dance again. So I am at least glad that we are getting this sort of openness about it. I am glad that we are getting some candor, even though there's some of it, like, I don't know if I necessarily do trust everything I'm hearing, but at least a lot of this makes sense, and I'm happy to hear him take ownership of it.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I continue. I can't help it. I continue to like Phil. It is. I think that
you're not one Jim Ryan fan. I thought.
Listen. He doesn't come anywhere close to Jim Ryan, of course. Like, come on, he couldn't shine Jim Ryan's shoes. But I like Phil. He's good in emergency situations. I think he needs to get better at the day-to-day overseeing and making sure that some lieutenants get hands-on with these games and say,
do you think he was distracted by the Activision Blizzard deal?
I think that's a pretty.
That was a problem.
I think it's you know what? Probably. Yeah, almost certainly. Why wouldn't that be a distraction? That's not an excuse, right? Of course it's not. No. We know that. Yeah, of course it's not an excuse. But I mean, his job is that. His job is not actually going to these studios. That is someone else's job. And I'm like, Matt Booty and other people's. I never want to sound like I'm like Matt Booty needs to get. I don't care. Fuck, I don't care if Matt Booty gets, keeps doing his job or not. But it's like, it does feel like, that was Matt Booty's job. Where's he on all this? Can we start hearing from him? Phil's not going to let that happen because Phil's going to take responsibility. But it's like, okay, well then, what is the change in processes that you talked about? I want to hear more about that a little bit. I know you're not going to give us like all the details, but what's going to change from today forward after what happened with Redfall? And does that mean different leadership is going to actually be going in there and seeing these games? We'll see. All right, Mike. Reggie Fils-Aime threatened to murder somebody on Twitter, and I love it. I love it very much.
Wasn't me, at least.
Yeah, not this time. Someone tweeted that they were playing a pirated version of The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom.
Don't tweet that, kids. If you're doing that, don't tweet it.
That account, apparently, this tweet is from an account that no longer exists. So Reggie did get him. I guess Reggie has now deleted this original tweet. Yeah, it's Fils-Aime. Fils-Aime, right?
Yeah, Fils-Aime. That's about right. Yeah,
it was close enough. And then, he basically said, "I don't know what you want. What I do have are a very particular set of skills." Blah blah.
It's the Taken quote.
It's
I thought it was funny.
Me too. I like it.
Reggie's
Honestly,
great.
I mean it. I like that he threatened to murder this person.
Look, I don't think he. Okay, come on. He did not threaten to
Not
murder.
really, but I mean, what is that supposed to say?
He's
I'm not
being
like
a silly. He's
I'm
just
saying
being
we
a
should call the
silly.
cops on Reggie. I'm not saying that.
Somebody do something.
Yeah, I love it. I legit think this is fantastic.
I had a starstruck moment at 1E3 because like it was like the late on the third day. I was just kind of walking around West Hall, and I just saw him with his little roller suitcase walking away from the Nintendo booth on his way to the airport or whatever. I was like, it's Reggie. He's huge. I love he's so cool. Great stuff.
I love Reggie too. Reggie's
Me too.
Again, no Jim Ryan, but
sure.
Him.
Who is?
Mike, before we get to our break, maybe we should read some of these super chats because I think a lot of them are related to the topics that we were just discussing. I figure it might be good to hit those up before we go to the break.
Well, we got a few from Big Jimbo Ryan here.
Fucking A, let's go. Let's fucking go.
First one's here. Ha 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 ha. Hey, Phileas, between Redfall and Forspoken, we're having a mid-off. I can't believe we paid to keep Forspoken off Xbox, but oh well.
I like Forspoken more than Redfall for what I played of it.
He also says, Miyamoto, get in here. It would be really funny if you had Nintendo last minute patch Tears of the Kingdom to be terrible. Come on, Shiggy, get in on this. He continues more. Miyamoto, you have the chance to do the funniest thing ever in gamer history. You can't let the gamers down. Come on, do it for the gamers.
Do it and be a legend.
Make Tears of the Kingdom bad for the laws.
For the memes and the laws.
Yeah. I mean, Forspoken, it is like that did just happen, but hey, you could at least say, well, that's Square Enix, blah, blah, blah. It still reflects on Sony in some way. Like, the last real one I can think of that is close to this for Sony is Days Gone, but the context there is just so different because it's coming out in the middle of these games that are hitting big, like God of War, or I forget exactly what else is in that time frame. Probably the first Horizon, and also it was made by Ben Studio, who had made PSP and Vita games before that.
There is another example.
Expectations.
There is another example, and it's an example of how Sony handled it pretty well. They were going to put out Destruction All Stars for $70, and then they saw the game and went, "Well, we fucking can't do that." we can't do that. That would be crazy. And then they put it on PlayStation Plus for free instead. So yeah, that's an example.
Nick Turbo said, "Don't forget Knack." How dare you,
yeah,
Nick
how dare
Turbo?
You.
How dare you?
How dare you? How dare you treat Knack that way? Mark Cerny deserves better.
Oh, Sony paid for Babylon's Fall exclusivity. Well, that was their own punishment.
Yeah, okay, yeah, right. That was just like flogging themselves in front of the Catholic God.
Look, Sony. The larger point is Sony is immune to it because they do have a steady stream of those big AAA games.
Yeah, if Redfall, this all comes down to Redfall being the first $70 game, the first big game, basically since Halo Infinite and Ghostwire Tokyo, whatever. But Ghostwire Tokyo didn't help either, really.
Yeah, Ghostwire Tokyo doesn't really.
Doesn't really count. It's a PlayStation game.
Went super under the radar and was kind of
it came out on other consoles, so it's not really helping with the very specific thing of Xbox has no games. The Redfall had all these other things it had to deal with, and it was not up to even being a good game, let alone handling the burden of all that stuff outside of it. No Sony game has had to handle that burden because they do have so many pillars holding up the building.
Exactly. Okay, next, sorry, I'm reading super chats.
Yeah,
next one here is from Grubb, who says, did the police save Paul Reichert and arrest Dan for stealing that boat and holding his father hostage on it? Did you see that picture?
Yeah, we have authorities chasing the man down right now. Okay. Hopefully we can get Dan the help he needs to stop doing these things that he does.
Dan and his dad are so cute together.
I can't. He told me they want to do that podcast when Dan's 70 and his dad's 90, and I cannot wait. I think that's going to be the best podcast ever. It's going
to be incredible.
Yep.
Cody Bishop says, do you think that exclusives aren't as important to Microsoft in the grand scheme of their Game Pass / multi-device reach gamers everywhere strategy?
I think they're more important.
Right, because
I'll tell you what, I know they're more important. I know for a fact they're more important because think back to the PlayStation 4 launch. It really didn't have that much. It didn't have that much for a couple of years. I forget when
it had Knack.
It had Knack. I forget when did Bloodborne,
Killzone, whatever.
Yeah, right. Killzone, Kingdom Fall,
and then it had Infamous Second Sight. Yeah, the first few ones were not the ones,
right?
And then
it was Bloodborne. It was Bloodborne. Bloodborne was
huge.
the first big one, and that was more than 2 years into the generation. It's like, and yet, despite that, PlayStation 4 sold no problem. Easy. People were like, they care about the gamers. They say it right in their tagline. It's for the gamers. Well, fucking, I'm a gamer. That's all it took. And Microsoft, meanwhile, created a fucking quagmire for itself by all the kicks in its own ass from the launch and the launch events. But then they needed the exclusives to overcome that, and then they didn't even have those. So Microsoft needs it way more than even Sony does, because Sony has a cachet, a long-running cachet with a group of fans that are pretty happy with them no matter what. And then since then, they've had game after game after game after game, and they're going to have a long tail of living off that. And yet they don't have to live off that because they keep having good games.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. And, I don't want to like shift the blame to basically the ghost of Christmas past at this point on Matrick here. But like, man, so much of this just goes back to that original Xbox One launch and how completely off the mark they were with what they were prioritizing in terms of cable TV and Connect.
Yep.
Just total wrong guesses. The 10 Derek says, who do you think made the decision for Redfall to be the first $70 game? Bethesda or Microsoft? When do you think that decision was made internally? That has to be a Microsoft decision, right?
I'm almost certain that's a Microsoft decision. Because Microsoft's the ones that like are making money decisions. So yeah.
There was another interesting thing from that interview now that I just remembered, where Phil was kind of like talk about, and maybe this goes back to, almost hate to bring this up, what you said about Hi-Fi Rush, maybe not necessarily meeting every metric, where they're like, more people play Age of Empires 2 console edition than they play, or is it Age of Empires 4? One of those Age of Empires than play Hi-Fi Rush. And I think he was trying to do that to lift up Age of Empires. It kind of sounded like a problem for Hi-Fi Rush to me. Hi-Fi Rush should be getting played by more people than the RTS game on console.
Age of Empires is it's popular. It's got a lot of people playing. It's got a long history, so maybe that is the difference. But you're right. I heard it that way too.
Scott Levine says, doesn't Redfall turn into another Scalebound if it's canceled? A mid-game with just bad PR due to lack of games?
Yes, and it doesn't matter.
It does, yeah. I think you're exactly right. And hey, maybe a lesson for all of us. Maybe when games get canceled, sometimes we don't need to go, I can't believe they never released that, because who knows?
And no normal fucking person knows about Scalebound.
Right.
Normal people are going to hear about Redfall.
It's not a real problem. It's not a real problem. Of course, 10 years from now, it's going to be in a Did You Know Gaming about canceled Xbox games. And people are going to like, I wish they released that game. It would have been so cool. Well, now we know better.
Right. I don't think normal people knew about Redfall before it came out. People have heard about Redfall's bad reception. It's become a meme, not a huge meme. I'm not saying it's like the thing people are talking about on the streets, but it's like that is way worse than anything. No fucking person's going to know about Scalebound. That's just not happening.
Then from Humdrum Dog 0211, Jeff, please respond to my DM, please. Same name, Porco Rosso,
all right.
PFP.
I hope it's a nude.
Is it Humdrum Dog or is it Porco Rosso then? Why is he saying Porco? I like that movie, but I like Porco Rosso.
Homie, I got so many DMs.
Yeah, it would have been better if you just put the message in the super chat and future reference. Jeff, but you got to find it now. He already paid. We couldn't stop him.
Yeah, I'll find it eventually. I mean, good luck, man.
It might be from a Humdrum Dog, one word. You look for that, Jeff. How about we take a break though while you look for that?
Yeah, let's do that real quick. Oh, do you need a real break, Mike? Do you need to go right now? Do you have to go potty?
Do you need to sell some ball shaving equipment first?
I need to sell
because I can hold the pee. Is pee stored in balls?
The pee is stored in the balls, everybody, which is why it's so important.
No, that's the bladders for balls. Go ahead.
That's why it's so important to get Manscaped. This is a public service announcement. The pee is stored in the balls, and Manscaped now has beard products. And it's going even further with their brand new Weed Whacker 2.0. Go ahead and tell the world the leaders in the below-the-waist grooming are traveling north of your South Pole with their revolutionary grooming products. The new Weed Whacker 2.0 and their new beard line confirms they have all the best tools for your hygiene toolbox. Time for you to upgrade your game by going to manscaped.com and using our code MESS, M-E-S-S, for 20% off plus free shipping worldwide. Mike, I think it's so important to take care of your beard, the balls of the face, as we always say on this show.
Yes, of course.
The Beard Hedger Pro Kit, which is a new package. It's the new ultimate package available at manscaped.com. It makes it easier than ever to craft your signature look. It all starts with the cordless electric beard hedger. The beard hedger is tough on hair but smooth on your face, leading to single stroke efficiency that brings satisfaction one stroke at a time. This waterproof cordless trimmer has a rotary wheel that gives you 20 haircut lengths, all with one guard, so no more messy drawers full of extra add-ons. The Pro Kit also comes with 4 dermatologist-tested formulations for your post-trim care. This includes Manscaped's beard shampoo and conditioner,
Which formulations?
I love that beard shampoo and conditioner, the beard oil and the beard balm. I really like the balm and the oil as well. The balm smells so good. And it also comes with these things: moisturize, they style, they shimmer. Plus, the kit has 3 free gifts: a beard brush, comb, and scissors. These are some of the best fucking scissors I've ever used in my life, Mike. I think I'm allowed to swear in these ads. With a nice beard, your face is perfectly groomed, right? Wrong! You need to keep an eye out.
You stupid asshole!
You
You're
stupid
not right!
asshole! You need to keep an eye out for those tough to trim ear and nose hairs. The brand new Weed Whacker 2.0 offers improved blade and skin safe technology with a no tucking guarantee. They are guaranteeing this. I'm going to tell you that's legally a fraud unless it's true. It's never been so painless to mind your manholes. Now that you have your face looking great, you must try Manscaped's Performance Package 4.0 for the full body grooming experience. Good news! The Performance Package 4.0 now comes with the Weed Whacker 2.0 and all of the below-the-waist grooming products Manscaped is known for. I giggled halfway through that sentence because I was trying to think of a way to sell these things for Mother's Day, and I'm like, I got nothing. Get these for your mom, or Robo Mitchell shooter.
Just wait for Father's Day.
Just wait for Father's Day like a normal person.
Maybe get your mom some flowers or a scented candle. But for any other holiday,
get her a gift card that then she can give to your father on Father's Day. I don't know. So get 20% off and free shipping with our code MESS at manscaped.com. Again, MESS. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com if you use our code MESS. Always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped.
Can I go pee now?
Yeah, go pee. You're free to go.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Wow. Okay, man. I black out halfway through those ads. Here we are. What are we getting Rachel for Mother's Day? We'll figure something out. Okay, I'll get you. I got lots of links on the internet for Golden Girls stuff. Get you something good. You probably have most of those things. Okay. Let's see. How's everybody doing? They require video proof of the hair pulling. That's fair. I don't think that's going to happen. I've used these things in delicate places and have not had tugs or nicks. The ad's done. We don't have to talk about Manscaped anymore.
Okay, good. Because I technically am not even an employee here. I still feel the need to resign after that segue.
That's fair. Okay. Well, you can just turn your paperwork. I'll let you know if I accept your resignation or not. Roger says these savings are turning my South Pole into a North Pole. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Thanks for the super chats, everybody. Thanks for everybody who's watching. We are going to get back to the show very soon. Appreciate everyone tuning in. You can always tell when there's like anxiety and people like, man, I want to know what's going on, because everyone's tuning in. Everyone wants to hear what's happening with Redfall, the Phil Spencer interview. Tell you what, we're gonna have a lot to talk about as we get closer to Summer Game Fest. So everyone keep tuning in every week, and Last of the Nintendogs on Tuesdays. We really appreciate that.
Tell you what, I'm glad I told Mike to start doing those thumbnails.
Yeah, I think they've helped. That's definitely. It was fun to record that video where he just randomly grabs a frame from that and throws me in there. It's really good. I need to finish that Psychonauts 2 documentary. I've watched a bunch of episodes, but it's really long, but it's incredible. I want to keep watching it.
All right, I got the last of the skunky Yinglings from Dollar General.
Everyone, give a thumbs up. Hit a like button for Mike's Skunky Beers. All right, he's really
Skunky Yinglings.
That's our third podcast around here. Last of the Skunky Beers.
Yeah, guys, don't get your beer from Dollar General. You can get a lot of things from Dollar General.
Nick, I can't find the DM, Jeff? I can't find it.
His name might actually be Porco Rosso, I guess.
No, I mean, when did he send it? Like weeks ago?
I don't know. He should have just put it in the chat.
All right.
Good night, Donnie.
Let's see here. No, I'm sorry. I don't see it. I have my open DMs. I'm looking in the message requests, and I'm looking at my other one. I have a message from 4 hours ago, and then a couple on May 3rd, a couple on May 1st.
Okay.
I don't see it. Sorry.
There you go then.
Cannot help you.
It's not your fault.
Yep.
I started a stream I can watch on here. Oh, right. This game.
Yeah, you know that thing.
I'm ready.
Okay.
What's Sean doing here?
Let's we're gonna get set up for the game right now, everybody. Again, if you have any super chats that you want to send, we will get to all your questions, so don't worry about that. While we get set up over here, let me bring up that, and then the game. There's that. Oh, let me do this. There we go. I think we just got to move Mikey down, and then we'll be good.
Can't keep me down.
There it is.
Like, what? Making a new Shadow Man game?
Yeah, did you see that?
What the hell? I played because Night Dive did a remaster of that first Shadow Man game. I was playing it on my Steam Deck. Like, yeah, this is all right. They're making a new Shadow Man. Wow, no wonder they.
That was weird. We talked that happened during Game this morning, so I talked about it briefly.
Is he still gonna have that weird like voodoo Irish snake friend?
I wonder if they'll be more culturally sensitive this time.
Something like that. It's a weird game. It's like a weird Tomb Raider knockoff, but with more like 90s comic book Spawn energy.
The profile picture is Porco Rosso. I'll take. Okay, I mean, I know what Porco Rosso looks like. You know what? We're gonna get back to this show. I'm sorry, we can't. This show cannot be a break of 10 minutes where I'm looking for a DM. Everybody, I'm sorry. Are you guys good to start back up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Jeff, you might have to crank the volume on the stream.
Is music?
Who can say?
Crank the volume. Okay, I think it's probably
on the Discord one.
Yeah, I got it 100 now. So we'll. Do you think it should be louder?
Like crank.
All right.
Max it.
Listen, this is on Sean, everybody. Max. It's on Sean.
If I blow out your ears, that's on me, everyone. Sorry about that.
Great. Let's hear this.
Let's get back into it. We're back, and we have a game for you all closest to the messy pen. We have our special guest host, Turbo Sean, here to help us out with the game from Benji Bob. Sean, take it over.
I'm actually going to ask you, Jeff, to narrate this opening for us. Can you do that for me?
It's the internet. You're busy. Let's do this. It's not too bad.
What are they seeing, Jeff?
Well, they're seeing a Bop original. There it is.
He literally asked
it's
you
an audio podcast, Jeff.
I listened to the music. I was making sure that everything was going good with the audio. It's text flying through space like Star Wars. What do you think is happening, audio listeners?
You're supposed to read the text, Jeff.
You're supposed to read the text.
It was just a Bop original. I was like waiting for the rest of the words to pop. You know what?
It's an audio podcast.
I hate this fucking show.
Find the DM, you son of a bitch.
You want me to read the rules too? Do I need to do everything around here?
All right, sit your ass down. I'm taking over. Jesus Christ. All right, everybody.
Oh, beer tastes like shit. Why do I drink these?
Benji said that went exactly like I wanted it to.
Thank you, Benji.
It is time once again for everyone's favorite game show within a podcast, closest to the messy pen, as Jeff sort of narrated there. The rules: if it's your first time, every round you will be given a capital C certified, aka older than 10 years, retro game. The goal is to predict the game's Metacritic score. We will be using a closest to the pin scoring system, aka, the golf pun that we have there. The score difference between your guess and the correct answer will be accumulated after every round. And at the end of the game, the lowest total score wins. Again, golf rules. If you guess the exact Metacritic score as it lands right now on Metacritic.com, instead of getting a 0, you can deduct 5 points from your total score. Gentlemen, are you ready?
Let's do this.
Yep. Okay. Who the hell won last time? I probably should look this one up.
I think I did.
Yeah,
I got 2 exactly right, so how would I know?
Yeah, that was the one where you got 2.
I'm still mad about it.
Nicely done, Jeff.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, so Mike will be giving me the first guess here on Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, the Game Boy Advance version of this licensed game, May 30th, 2002, 14 critic reviews.
Huh.
Can we ask who the
That's
publisher
hard.
is? I'm asking before he answers, so we both have the same advantage.
He doesn't have that info.
Okay.
It's fine.
Cool. Thanks for your help.
Well, what do you want, Mister? What, you got him to Google it for you?
Kinda.
You have no idea how many hoops my computer is going through right now to get a freaking PowerPoint presentation stream over the internet.
THQ, like all of those things. I don't remember the console Episode 2 game being very good, let alone the Game Boy Advance version. It's not like that Episode 3 Game Boy Advance game that was actually pretty good, but probably also didn't get like great reviews. I'm gonna say 68.
68. Okay. By the way, the man himself, Bop, is saying in the chat, THQ.
Okay.
Thank you, Bop.
Thank you, Bob. I'm going to go with a full Redfall. I think it was 62.
That's what you call that now.
Layup now. Layup. Thank you. All right. Okay, so Mike has 68 on the board. Jeff has 62. And the correct answer is 38.
Whoa!
30 freaking 8.
The toy headquarters just did not know how to make games, apparently.
Woof.
Oh, boy.
I see. That's, so you got 30. I've never had to enter a number this high into this bottom one. I don't know how it works.
Can your computer handle calculations this high?
Jesus Christ.
Making Redfall look like Red Faction over here. I don't even know what that means.
I guess, no one's going negative tonight. That's for sure. We're guaranteed not to go negative, right?
So that means that the blue side, Mike, has 30 points on the board.
A lot of points.
Jeff, the red side, can't imagine what that stands for, has 24 points on the board.
Oh, wow. Wow. I didn't know we were editorializing Benji. Okay.
Aren't you the dude who dressed up as Darth Maul during a live stream?
That was funny.
No, I was Wolfpack Sting, you Philistine. Oh,
it looks a lot like Darth Maul, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think we always just say it's Darth Maul. Yeah.
Oh, I'm disgusted.
Anyways, game number 2, Jeff's pick will be Star Wars Rogue Squadron, Nintendo 64, November 17th, 1999, 1998. Sorry about that. 15 critic reviews.
Shit. All right. This is tough. I want to go higher than I probably should, but I don't want to go too low. I'm going to go with 80 on the dot.
80 on the dot. Okay.
I think it did better than that. I'm going to say 85.
I hope it did better. I hope so.
I feel like this one could be a toss-up. I actually don't know myself. Well, Star Wars Rogue Squadron, which, okay, I was talking about this on stream today. Remind me, is this like the first one and then the other ones were on the GameCube?
It's the first one. The other two were on the GameCube. Although Shadows of the Empire is kind of a predecessor.
The second one was the GameCube launch game, right?
Yes, Rogue Leader is the one that...
This is like the whole Jedi Academy thing. I can't remember which one is which because they did that like 3 different times where they did the Rambo thing to it.
I'm going to say it's not like that just because I care about these games a lot, so I know the difference. But you're right.
Yeah, but you're a fucking nerd. Anyways, the actual score on Metacritic.com is 85.
Let's go!
Mikey nails it, gets 5 points deducted from his score. Jeff gains 5. The tides have turned. The Jedi Order now has 25,
Lucky
and the
guess.
Sith Scrub has 29.
This is terrible. I shouldn't be treated this way.
I'm sad to say scores this high. It's hilarious. Game number 3. Star Wars The Force Unleashed 2. Released for the Xbox 360, October 26, 2010. 59 critic reviews. Mikey, is your pick first.
Yeah, I don't think this did particularly well. I'm going to say a very nice 69.
Nice.
Damn it. I'm gonna go with 71 and not feel good about it.
I think I got this one.
Yeah,
I think I would have guessed lower.
This is funny because as part of the research I did for our discussion, which is up on YouTube and podcast feeds right now, everybody, please go listen. I actually checked out what the Metacritic score was for both the original and this one. And so I already know that the Xbox 360 version has 61, baby. Okay, this was not a good game.
Almost a Redfall.
Almost the full Redfall, yeah.
Okay, so Mike gains 8 points. Jeff gains 10. That is 33 for Mike, 39 for Jeff. Game number 4. Star Wars, Knights of the Old Republic 2, The Sith Lords. released for the Xbox December 6, 2004. 67 critic reviews. That feels like a lot of reviews for a game that, I'll be honest, I don't know much about. So I really don't know where this one. Yeah.
This is a good game that was not reviewed well at the time because of a lot of performance issues. But it's like hard to like pin down like where does that put it then, because did people even recognize that there was a good game in there? I'm gonna go with 72.
72. Okay.
I don't think it did that bad. I think it did a lot worse than KOTOR, but KOTOR was like in the 90s. KOTOR reviewed so well. I think this is still closer to like an 80.
80. All right.
There's a chance for Jeff to make up a lot of ground here, though, because there's a big difference between our two scores.
But I don't know. I think you're right. When you said it like that, like that's a good point.
Yeah, I'm very curious because I feel like people don't talk about this one nearly as much as the first one. So.
It's been sort of redeemed since then, and the people who are like,
think so.
The people are like, who if you know, you know, really like it because the story is very good in it.
Okay, gotcha. Was this Obsidian?
It's Obsidian.
Yes, Obsidian.
Okay, got it. All right. Well, the score for this game currently, I don't want to read that whole thing again. KOTOR 2 is 86.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Got a lot of leeway. Man. It got a lot of leeway. I was thinking higher originally, but I'm like, I can be safe within 80.
Man. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really high score, man. I do. Yeah, that's like really good.
It didn't even have a finished ending. It still did pretty well.
They Xeno Saga did or whatever.
Something like that, yeah.
Metal Gear Solid 5,
Xenogears is actually the one that didn't finish the ending.
There we go. Okay. Going into the final round here.
Beautiful
Mike
scores.
has 39 points on the board. Jeff has 53.
All right.
No, this is not a basketball game, everybody. This is golf.
Big swings.
The final game for the evening is Star Wars Racer Revenge. PlayStation 2, February 11th, 2002. 34 critic reviews. Mike, you have first pick.
I remember it wasn't received nearly as well as the original Episode 1 Racer, largely because this is just a game that it ran at 30 frames per second. And if ever there's a game that you want at 60, it's this. I think it was like a 72.
72, okay.
Well, I got to go. Let's see. Let me do some math here. If I would get -5, I'd have to at least be, 11 different from you? So let's just hope the math works out, and I'll go with a 60.
60, okay.
I don't think that's
honest,
right.
I saw that Revenge there, and I 100% thought this was that Demolition in my head when I first read that out.
That game was kind of fun.
Really? Cool.
For messing around with your friend for 30 minutes, sure.
Right. Well, Star Wars Racer Revenge is currently sitting at a 73
wow, Mike,
on
good job.
Metacritic. Mike was 1 point off. Jeff was 13 points off. Which means that at the end of the game here, the Jedi triumph over the Sith, 40 points to Jeff's
I just did not agree to this. I didn't agree to any of this.
Order 66! Oh my god!
Oh my god, you're all dead.
He's gonna kill us all! Penny's very concerned that I'm yelling. It's okay, Penny. The Sith are just gonna murder us.
Yeah.
Good game, Jeff. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Sean. That was a lot of fun, especially the part where I won.
That was some good guesses. Yeah. You're still 40 off, but pretty good guesses. Well, it was mostly the first one, right?
Episode 2 game really
it was the first one.
Yeah.
That's actually,
I think I was 40 points off of that.
Yeah, I think you were pretty close otherwise. All right, fair enough.
That was a great pick for the first one, Bob. Nicely done. Thank you, as always.
All right. Sean, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Mike, good game. Let us go ahead and do what we're going to do here for the rest of the show. And by that, I mean take a quick break while I refix these cameras.
We'll do that. We're going to do the show, talk about what we've been playing, and get to the rest of these super chats. Thank you all so much. We'll read all of those if you keep sending them in. Appreciate it.
I'm just going to fix Mike's camera over here, and then we'll be good. Why is it like that? Why is your face cut off? What happened? Oh, it's because I have the game still. There we go. Okay. All right. Let me fix Mike a little bit more because he's a bit short, and he hates that.
He called me a bitch short. I was like, no, wait, he said bitch short. That makes more sense.
All right, here we go. All right, thanks for sticking with
me.
us. We're gonna keep that whereas it was. That burp was beautiful, and we're not gonna change who we are for you, our listeners. Mike, we're gonna do a Mount Rushmore, and it's May the 4th, so we're gonna do a Mount Rushmore Star Wars games.
I like it.
I'll bring up the chart here for everybody in a second, but let's just kick it off. Where do you think we should begin?
This is interesting. There's some big ones. There's also ones that are almost like maybe correct but boring answers.
Sure.
So let me actually bring this one up right now, and it kind of falls in that latter category. The Star Wars arcade game by Atari, which is super fun. It's super iconic. It's pretty important. Do I care that much about it now? I don't know.
I don't. I know a lot of people who do, but I also think they're wrong. I mean,
I had like the port of it for 32X, and that was pretty cool, actually.
Yeah. And it's actually still kind of fun to go back to.
It's very cool, and for the time with the vector graphics and everything, it was really neat. And even for a long time after it, it's still fun. And I know, like, by Mount Rushmore rules, I guess it deserves some consideration, but I don't know. It's just a bit too old, even for Mount Rushmore. It's older than George Washington. It's like putting John Smith from Pocahontas on there.
Yes, which we're not going to do. We're not going to put John Smith on there. Yeah. So like, I'm trying like, what are the other iconic but boring ones?
I get the other one I was kind of thinking of with this, and some people are going to disagree with me, is Lego Star Wars.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to put that up there because it just feels like such a specific thing where it's kind of like Lego is its own thing. Like if we were doing a Mount Rushmore Lego games, Star Wars would definitely be up there. But I don't know. It feels like slight, and it has always felt slight. And while it's great Star Wars fan service, it's not even really the best Star Wars fan service. It doesn't even do that better than anything else.
Yeah, and I don't mean this to be condescending. What they were always really good at was being very good kids games. They are,
right,
and they're fantastic at that. They're fun playing with your kids. I don't have that much interest as an adult of playing. Like, I would even get in this trap for a while where it's like, well, now it's the Lord of the Rings Lego game. I'm really excited. And then I would play it and it would be a fucking Lego game. I'd be like, this is a kind of dull because it's really simple and not very interesting, but it's the Lego with the brand I like. So yeah, I think it's a little rough. I can see an argument for it, but it just doesn't really interest me to put it on there.
So then, okay, then let's start thinking about some that do have a chance. There's some obvious ones. We'll get to them. There are quite a few Star Wars shooters. Ones that are just either first-person shooters or kind of adjacent or in that vein. Even like if you just go Dark Forces, the Dark Forces series, like which one of those would even be in contention?
Yeah. So, actually before we start potting, Jeff, I bought Dark Forces. It's on sale right now. Like the original game, which if you don't know, is basically like a Doom clone with Star Wars stuff on top of it. Fans have made something called the Force Engine, which allows you to run this DOS game on modern computers, like up to high resolutions with all these other bells and whistles. It's really cool. I was having a really neat time with it. I think it's one of my favorite shooters of that kind of time and space. But it's not the best Star Wars shooter. And there's a lot of sequels to that game, and all of them are good. Jedi Knight, Jedi Outcast, Jedi Academy. Jedi Outcast is the one that sticks out to me. It's the one that's the most, it doesn't really feel necessarily like a pure clone to some other game. It does a really good job of making those Jedi powers a lot of fun and mixing them in with the shooter elements. I think that kind of Jedi combat, lightsaber combat, is still really fun. It's better than what we have in Force Unleashed. It's different than Jedi Survivor, which is kind of doing more of the defensive, parry, Dark Souls kind of thing. This is very offensive. You're jumping on walls, doing Prince of Persia shit, and just kind of wailing that lightsaber, using all these force powers. Kyle Katarn is awesome. I'm just a big fan of that character. Jedi Academy is also really good. Its story is just kind of whatever. Whereas Jedi Outcast is this really fun Star Wars story, actually. And, you have familiar characters in there, like Lando shows up and so on, but it still stands on its own in a really nice way. So I think if I had to pick a shooter from that series, Jedi Outcast, and then maybe the other one, like the recent Battlefront games that are pure first-person shooters, they're fun. I think they're better than a lot of people give them credit for. I think
they look really good too. Battlefront 2.
Yeah.
Battlefront
2 has that. Sorry, Battlefront 2 is that level set on that one planet that rains a lot from Episode 2, and that is like one of the coolest looking levels in a shooter. I love that. but it has problems. It doesn't always run great. That engine isn't super well optimized.
The
it had rough
campaign
launches.
is kind of bad.
Iffy.
Yeah.
I think the other first-person shooters probably be Republic Commando, the one where you play as the clone troopers. That was always a shock. It was so much fun back then. It just a lot of it is that it's not really doing anything super original, but it just kind of all felt really good. It did more with episode 2 than episode 2 did, right? And the prequels were good for that in a lot of ways, where the movies were always bad, but we got good games out of them. And Republic Commando is one of the poster children for that.
What do you feel about the pandemic Star Wars Battlefront games?
Yeah, this might be controversial. I am sometimes shocked people like them as much as I liked them. People talk about fun. Battlefront 2 like it was one of the best games of that generation. I saw somebody asking, whatever year it was that Battlefront 2 came out, I forget what it was. Like, what's the game of the year of 2004 or 2007 or whatever? And a lot of people were like, well, Battlefront 2, obviously. And that somebody who was there then, that shocks me. Like, those games were good. I think they got reviewed in like the mid to low 80s. Yeah, 2005. It's a good game. I agree. I can't see it as Mount Rushmore, but maybe I'm missing something here. What do you think about?
I mean, I'm right there with you, but I was not playing a lot of it at the time. And whenever I would go back, I just felt like I was missing something, because I know people love the game, and I'm like, yeah, this is it. It's clearly really just built to be fun, and I appreciate that. But also, it felt when I played it later disposable. Like, it's just they're just throwing a bunch of stuff in there, and I mean, I'm sure that for people who were there, that's not what they want to hear. But I think I tend to agree with you.
Right, I like it. I get it. I don't want to say overrated, because that has like more baggage on it than I mean. But I am surprised people feel as strongly about it as they do.
Okay, so we have Jedi Outcast and Republic Commando in the consideration. Those games came out of like the shooter Star Wars games. We'll see if they even make the list. There's a lot of then flight Star Wars games, flight sims or arcadey flight games.
And this is where I feel bad, Jeff, because I think this is gonna be a blind spot on both of us. We might have to beg forgiveness here. Neither of us really played those X-Wing games, and people absolutely love them. X-Wing.
I have them, and I keep meaning to go back, but I also feel like I might have missed my window to get into them.
Yeah, it's a shame. Like, now on the kind of mirror side of that, the sort of more arcadey shooters of those, the Rogue Squadron games, I was very much into, and Rogue Leader's one. I think that's the best of those, and that seems like a pretty easy one to throw up there for me. It's a game that still just looks amazing. One of my favorite launch games ever. It's still the game that I think makes flying around in like an X-Wing or an A-Wing feel really good. Star Wars Squadrons did come out, and it was a lot of fun. But I almost kind of prefer this more arcadey, gamey feel of this, as opposed to like, we're going to really make it feel like you're in the cockpit. Like, now I want it to feel like I'm playing with a toy, actually. And Rogue Leader does an amazing job of that.
Yeah, I'm fine with either Rogue Squadron or Rogue Leader, but I think I probably agree that Rogue Leader was so good. It looks amazing to this day. It was a great GameCube launch game, and it just was it felt very Star Wars, like through and through. The music was great in there. The technology was just really good. Rogue Leader is very, very, it deserves to probably be up there for sure, in my opinion. But yeah, I'm with you. Like, I missed out on TIE Fighter. I missed out on X-Wing Alliance, all that stuff. And I feel bad, but I also probably put Rogue Leader up there first, because I was such a GameCube kid.
I would be shocked if I play TIE Fighter now, or TIE Fighter versus X-Wing or X-Wing Alliance, whichever one people think is the best one. It might be too late for me to ever really think I like it more than Rogue Leader.
Yeah.
I know those are different things in a way, but they're similar enough. A little shout out though to the very underrated, I think, Starfighter games for PlayStation 2, which are really more like pure rail shooters, like a Star Fox. But Starfighter and Jedi Starfighter are actually pretty fun. I
didn't know they were like Star Fox. I never played those games. That's interesting. I didn't realize.
Yeah, they're a good time. There's a Watto-like character in it. It's not Watto, but it's that alien species, and that's fun.
A Toydarian, of course.
Yeah, but Jedi Starfighter especially. Rail shooter isn't really what I mean, but it is kind of Star Foxy. They're not like Star Fox, but in my mind, they were a lot like Star Fox. It's been a while since I played them, but I might be wrong on that. But they're good games. They're worth checking out. Because in my mind, it was much more linear as opposed to Rogue Squadron, which is like you're in these arenas, you can kind of fly around all over the place. In my mind, the Jedi Starfighter games and Starfighter, it was more you're going down a path.
What? Okay. There's some other things that are definitely on the bubble. Star Wars, Shadow of the Empire. How do you feel about that one? That's one I really have a soft spot for. I don't think that puts it up there though.
Yeah, I have a soft spot for it. It also seems important in a way.
Yeah, the Hoth level.
Hoth level, very early Nintendo 64 game. It was a big moment for Star Wars is back on consoles, because before then, there were not a lot of console Star Wars games. We had the Super Star Wars games, which are fun, 2D platformers that are almost more known for being hard than anything else. Yeah. They're fun. I don't think they make it on here.
No.
But this was when it was like, after this, it felt like we just had a steady stream of Star Wars games that basically lasted until the Xbox 360 era, when it suddenly slowed down, and then we got, like a Force Unleashed, and a Force Unleashed 2, and that was like about it for that whole generation.
Okay, and then the MMOs, Star Wars Galaxies and Star Wars The Old Republic.
Nah. Both of them are very interesting. Both of them are fun. I admire things about them. More so Galaxies, even though it failed much harder. But no.
Yeah, Galaxies is super interesting. I love reading about it. I don't think I ever would have liked actually playing it, but I really love reading about the way the game was supposed to work and how hard it was supposed to be to become a Jedi. And then them realize, like, making a game where it's like, it's going to be very difficult to become a Jedi, and then being faced with the economic reality of people paying money want to be a fucking Jedi, you idiots. It's like, oh god, that kind of sucks. I wish they could have stated their original vision. Maybe that's, but yeah, that's definitely not going to make it on this list though. I mean, we can start getting to some of the obvious ones now, Mike. Maybe the most obvious one, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah, that's the biggest lock. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's number one.
It's this great original Star Wars story. It's this really good RPG. It was actually hugely important for making the RPGs, like non-JRPG turn-based style RPGs, popular on consoles. Like that and Morrowind really paved the way for that. And honestly, KOTOR more so than Morrowind. It was this big deal. It was this big hit. It was this kind of moment where, like, man, it's almost kind of like now we're like, man, I don't know if I like the Star Wars movies, but I do like Jedi Survivor, so that's nice at least. Well, the prequels kind of suck. KOTOR show is great though. Yeah. I can still like Star Wars and be into it because I have this thing.
It was for a very long time. It was like it was the best Star Wars that wasn't, New Hope, Return of the Jedi, or Empire Strikes Back, and it's like, and there wasn't much else anywhere close to it, and a lot of that comes down to great storytelling and really just, still to this day, a very fun game, where it's fun to like explore your character and turn and talk with your team and stuff like that. And they had some really great writing for HK-47, all this stuff.
A lot of good characters.
Yeah, so I it's a lock. Like that's, in fact, I think it's number one with a bullet.
Yeah, it's a pretty easy lock. I mean, again, when that Switch port came out, I started up for funsies, just ended up playing through the whole thing. Again, it is just that kind of game. I love it.
I think
KOTOR, I know KOTOR 2 is supposedly a good game. But look, I mean, it's nice that fans added in the ending, but like maybe that should have been there from the beginning.
Yes, exactly. Yes. I mean, this is not a statement against KOTOR 2 in any way, but KOTOR is the game that goes up here for sure. Survivor's too recent, and I haven't finished it, and it's too recent to go up on a Mount Rushmore. But what about Fallen Order? I kind of like it up there.
I think it deserves consideration. I do like it a lot. I think its combat feels really good. I think it's the best like lightsaber action game outside of the Jedi Outcast Jedi Academy branch. In some ways, it does some things better there. Like deflecting the blaster bullets, that feels so good in those games.
Yep.
I love that they kind of did the 3D Metroidvania route with it. That sounds great. There's some really good characters in this. I like Grease a lot. I like BD. That's a very cute little droid, Jeff. There's a lot to like about Jedi Fallen Order. I think me and you even like it more than most do.
Yeah, I think it was, if it wasn't my game of the year that year, it was in the top 3 for sure. I really like that game. I love that game. I straight up love that game. I would give it 5 stars because it was one of my favorite things. And Survivor I'm enjoying even more. But I think Fallen Order is in this 5 games that we have right now, which currently stands at, for audio listeners, Knights of the Old Republic is a lock. And then for the 3 remaining slots right now, we have Jedi Outcast, Republic Commando, Rogue Leader, and Fallen Order. Mike, are there any other games for consideration you want to throw in there before we start putting some other stuff next to Knights of the Old Republic?
There's a big one at least, and I think there might be a few more.
Yeah, please.
I think Episode 1 Racer is absolutely one of my favorite Star Wars games. It's probably my second favorite racing game flat out after Ridge Racer Type 4, and you know how much I like Ridge Racer Type 4. Episode 1 Racer was like that game, again, like kind of like how Republic Commando was like the good side of Episode 2. Episode 1 Racer was the good side of Episode 1.
Yes, definitely.
To be fair, that Episode 1 game, I actually do like that. It was on PC and PlayStation. It is janky. I kind of like it anyways. I don't think it holds up for people who aren't sickos about enjoying old games still. Episode 1 Racer definitely still holds up. It is so fast. Its presentation is great. I love its goofy cast of characters. Just so much fun. I would kill to have another one of these.
Can I put the Star Wars arcade, the one from the more modern one that I like a lot? Can I put that on for consideration? Because I think that actually is an iconic game in a lot of ways, where it was just in movie theaters for so long, so it's like it was kind of reliable. Like you didn't have to go find an arcade to play it. It was going to be in your AMC, and it was going to be, and it was going to work. And sure, after like 10 years, the burn-in on it was pretty rough, but it was like, no, this is still that same game, and it feels great. And it does a really good job of hitting the big beats of the movie in a way that it's just fun to play. And then you could kind of get good at it so that you could go through the action sequence where, you're shooting ATSTs and you're shooting Imperial probe droids. And then because it's, Empire Strikes Back scene, you're going to get to Boba Fett. You have to fight off Boba Fett and with your lightsaber. And because it's a joystick, you can kind of do lightsaber movements. And it felt really, really awesome. And it was cinematic. And I think they did a really good job with that game. I played it again recently. I played it when we were in Chicago. I played it when I was in wherever the hell I was traveling recently, LA. And man, I still really like that game a ton.
Sean says the internet's not going to like what I'm not going to like what the internet said, so I put Episode 1 Racer over Battlefront 2, Shadows of the Empire, or Super Star Wars. I believe him about Battlefront 2. I don't really think there's that many people who hold like brightly blazing candles for Shadows of the Empire or Super Star Wars anymore.
I think Shadow of the Empire's Hoth level, I do hold that candle for it, and then everything after, I don't. It's like that's where it's very much on the bubble. A lot
of people are like that.
I'm looking at the list, and I do think now I'm like been thinking about it. I think if we have Republic Commando on here, I also think I do want the modern Star Wars Star Wars Battlefront 2. Because they did kind of get to that game where there's so much Star Wars in it that I think I kind of want at least to be considered.
I have to say, in the spirit of Mount Rushmore, Jeff, actually, if we were to consider a Battlefront, maybe we should consider the older one. It does have people who carry this massive torch for it. Okay, and I agree with you. I prefer the newer one, actually.
I think
I do. I had more fun with that than I ever did the old one, even when it was of its time,
18?
to be completely honest. But I if I was going to be Mount Rushmore about it, I think I would do that. And also in the spirit of Mount Rushmore, we've done it before. Maybe we should consider X-Wing. Maybe we should just say, hey, its reputation precedes it. It's obviously important. People love this game, and it started this whole thing. In a lot of ways, it was that, along with Dark Forces, really kicked off that era of Star Wars PC games. You're going specifically with X-Wing versus TIE Fighter?
No, I think just TIE Fighter. I think TIE Fighter's the one that people really...
It's the first one also, so there's that.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think that's interesting.
Okay.
So
it's 2017. Thank you. I couldn't
2017.
remember.
There you go. Now I'm trying to blast out any other ones we're missing that might be important. I know I like that Episode 3 game for Game Boy Advance and DS. Jeff.
Oh yeah, for sure. Me too. That's not
considered.
No way. Yeah.
I love it. I hold a soft spot for it. There's weird things too, like what was the desktop game with Yoda?
Yoda Stories, yeah.
Yoda Stories.
I remember seeing that.
It's cute.
I remember seeing that in Spain and being like, it was like there was a Game Boy version of it. I'm like, what the fuck is this? I had no idea. I never heard of it.
The people who know say X-Wing versus TIE Fighter is the one that we should do for that series.
Yeah, I mean, some people do say TIE Fighter, but X-Wing versus TIE Fighter is definitely beloved.
I liked Rebel Assault 2. I'm surprised how many people in chat are saying Rebel Assault 2 like that. Okay, I'm going to just say it. for somebody who gets yelled at for liking boomer games a lot, I don't know if I can think of a more boomer game than RedFall Assault 2, which was basically an FMV game.
Yeah, it's like got some real rough fun FMV sequences.
I'm fond
I put
of it.
Consideration. I'm fine with that.
I don't know if we even need to do that, Jeff. Look, I like RedFall Assault 2.
I put it up there, and now I've deleted it. There we go.
Yeah. I'm sorry. There are a bunch of RTS Star Wars games. I never fell in love with any of them. The one I liked the most,
I wish I did,
was the one that was literally just Age of Empires 2 with a Star Wars skin, which wasn't very ambitious, but it was fun. I know there's an original one that some people like more, but I never cared for it.
What about Star Wars Masters of Terrascasi?
No.
All right, here's the list as it stands right now. Knights of the Old Republic, bullet pointed, number 1. And then for consideration, Jedi Outcast, Republic Commando, Rogue Leader, Fallen Order, Episode 1 Racer, Star Wars Trilogy Arcade, Battlefront 2, and then Star Wars X-Wing versus TIE Fighter. Force Unleashed is not going to go up there, right?
No, it's not good enough.
Yep, it's not.
It's okay. I like it, but not sniffing it.
Fallen Order is a bit new, but not too new. I mean,
it's like 4 years now at this point.
Yeah, it's definitely just old enough, I think, where there's no issue.
I'm surprised how many people in chat are saying Jedi Academy over Jedi Outcast. I really don't agree with that. As much fun as Jedi Outcast is,
Mike, I think they're pretty close, but I think it's Jedi Outcast.
I think it's Jedi.
I think it's Jedi Outcast. Yes.
It's just like Kyle Katarn. I gotta be able to play as Kyle Katarn instead of my OC, who I think that was the first time actually I was old enough where I made my OC just be a sexy character. I think I just made a sexy Twi'lek girl.
Good for you.
Yeah, it was a formative moment for me.
All right, Mike. I got
yes, I want to do this. Yeah. I want you to say which one would you most like to put on there out of these ones we're considering.
I mean, the one I most want to put up there, the one I think should go up there. Let me see if those are the same. This is tough because a lot of these kind of hover in the same general area for me. But of these, I think the one that I'm leaping toward most with both my brain and my heart is Rogue Leader.
Yeah, I love Rogue Leader, Jeff. I think it represents that kind of era really well. It was this amazing GameCube launch game, which was an amazing system.
It's also part of that Star Wars Nintendo sort of lineage that I think kind of helps me out with I think that had a Hoth level as well. One of those games had a Hoth level.
Well, no, I mean, there's people. If you're mad that we don't have Shadows of the Empire, this is direct lineage of that. And It's just way better.
Exactly,
it's way better than that.
Right, exactly. So it's like it kind of covers our bases there. I feel like, and I mean, that's also part of the lineage of Star Wars games are often technically amazing. Like that's happened a bunch of times. I mean, that goes back to the Vector game. And here it is, Rogue Leader at that time, just nothing looked better in terms of trying to mimic photorealistic visuals. And yeah, I think Rogue Leader goes up there.
I don't think but nobody's mad about Rogue Leader, so I know that's right. I think that's correct.
Yeah, it is the game that brings Dolphins to its knees. Yeah, Dolphins. Yeah, it still runs real rough on there. That is the one game where I really need to get a GameCube for. Okay, Mike, how about you? What do you want to put up there?
It's hard. I'll tell you the one I want to put up there most would actually be Episode 1 Racer.
Yeah, I mean, and I think in a similar vein, I would want to put up Star Wars Trilogy Arcade. But it's probably not our list, right?
No, I mean, I'll be honest, here are the four that I'm actually really considering now.
Okay.
Are Jedi Outcast, Fallen Order, Episode 1 Racer, and then maybe Trilogy Arcade.
Yeah, when you point out that all those games are out there, I really like Trilogy Arcade, and I think it's got some potential to be up there. But I think, Fallen Order and Jedi Outcast, maybe.
Like, here's my dream. My dream to the ones I would like to do would be Jedi Outcast and Episode 1 Racer. My concern becomes a bit of. Wow, those are 4 games from the exact same, almost 4-year window. And I don't know if that matters for Mount Rushmore. Maybe they're 4 very different games.
Bit. Yeah. They're yes, they represent a breadth of Star Wars in a different way.
It's almost more like the 4 horsemen of Star Wars games than the Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, which one's Famine? Okay. Let's see. Let's start getting rid of some of these other ones that we're not going to put up there. We're probably not actually going to put a Battlefront up there, huh?
No, I'm sorry. I just neither of them, not really. And I feel worse about X-Wing versus TIE Fighter.
Me too.
That's a blind spot on us, and we should try to remedy that before this same time next year, Jeff. How about that?
Yes, that sounds great. Yeah, I would really, make something of May the 4th and actually play a game, but I'll do it soon because I really want to play those games.
And Republic Commando is just not as good of a first-person shooter Star Wars game as Jedi Outcast is.
Yeah. Okay, so we have Knights of the Old Republic and Rogue Leader up there, and we're feeling pretty good about those. We have 2 slots left, and we have Jedi Outcast, Fallen Order, Episode 1 Racer, and Star Wars Trilogy Arcade. Even Star Wars Trilogy Arcade, I mean, that's not from like some completely different era. That was just a few years before many of these. Not even.
That's around the same exact.
That's still
era,
around the same exact time. Some of these other ones.
That is the golden era, man. That is when Star Wars games just absolutely ruled. There were so many of them, and not all of them hit, but a lot of them hit like crazy.
Okay, which one definitely?
Because like Chad is still freaking out about it. I was there, Jeff.
I was there too.
Those Battlefront games were not that big a deal,
right? Yeah.
I guess with people my age, I guess there's everybody 5 or 10 years younger for us. That was their life.
Yeah. Apparently for everyone who's like 25 right now, that was the game. And it's like, oh, okay. I guess so.
Right. Sean say that doesn't matter. What matters is now. Okay, well now they're just those games, but older. I don't know. I was there then. I know, no, that didn't mean to like. Of course, obviously, it doesn't just mean that. This is just a general thing. I am surprised because again, like I'm gonna look it up right now. What's the Metacritic on the original Star Wars Battlefront 2? And again, that's not the say all end all of a game's quality. I know, but I just never. Like on PC, it's a 78. The 2005 Battlefront 2. That's just like where I'm like, what?
64 player battles. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of.
It's basically MAG. I mean, not too far off.
Basically, yeah. It's like on PlayStation 2, it's an 84, which is like a good score.
Good score.
On Xbox, it's a 83. Like that's just what I remember it as. As an 84 is an 83. So I'm always shocked how many people. It's like that is one of my favorite games.
We're not putting it up there. Okay, because we have too many other games that we really do want to put up there. That's where we're at. Sorry, everybody.
And I'll tell you which one's looking more important to get up there to me is Jedi Outcast. As kind of like something's got to be something in that first person lineage has to be represented here.
Yeah, I think Jedi Outcast does go up, and then I think
Katarn's such a homie.
I listen. I think Racer. It'd be okay. I would be okay with Racer. I do think actually Star Wars Trilogy Arcade rounds out this list more.
See,
and then we leave off Fallen Order, but I think we do leave off Fallen Order.
I think Fallen Order's left off. I think Jedi Outcast kind of also represents like the Jedi game
exactly
better than Fallen Order does. I don't know, Jeff. I want Racer on there more than Arcade.
I mean, I know you do. I really like Racer. I mean, they both kind of like bring a different flavor up to that list. Either one of these could be the Roosevelt.
Could we see what chat thinks if it's Episode 1 Racer versus Star Wars Trilogy Arcade?
Yeah, I think I'm okay with that. That's a good idea.
See what they
okay,
think.
chat. Here's your chance to.
Chat's mad at us. Let's see if they think about this at least.
Yes, here's your chance to weigh in and actually shape this list. And I'm not going to make a Q&A because then I know what you would put. I'm just going to give you 2 options: Episode 1 Racer, or
some people are like, some people are boycotting the poll because they're so mad about Battle.
Okay,
I can't believe.
Okay, we're going to have a Battlefront 2 night. We'll figure it out, whatever it takes to make that happen. I don't know what it will take if that's possible.
Hear that? We'll play Battlefront 2 with you guys.
We'll play Battlefront 2 with you guys, and you guys will prove it to us.
It kind of tickles me how bad they are.
Yeah,
They've never been this bad. Again, man, that game got a big glow. You think, did some of the glow up happen because they rebooted it and it was different? Is that why some people are indignant and like really?
I think that's part of it.
Down on the old ones.
Racer's got a big lead with 31 votes, so I think it's probably going to be Racer.
Hell yeah, my Racer homies.
I guess that makes sense.
Hold on, chat. No one vote. Oh no, it was good when it came out. Thank you, Gadget. Mike says Battlefront 2 is such a boomer game. Yeah, how come that's not a boomer game, by the way?
Battlefront 2 is a boomer game now. Because there's like a whole new Battlefront that came out, and everyone's like,
"I boomer game.
I like this when I was things were better when I was a kid. It's the most boomer take you can possibly have."
You know what? Oh, this is gonna get him mad. Oh, I'm gonna get him really mad. You know what game I liked? Was that Lord of the Rings game that those people made that no one liked. I kind of liked that game.
All right, that makes me pretty mad too. How dare you?
Eat shit.
Okay. Oop. There we go. Mount Rushmore of Star Wars games. Knights of the Old Republic, Rogue Leader, Jedi Outcast, and Star Wars Episode 1 Racer.
These are probably my 4 favorite Star Wars games. Like, absolutely. So I'm happy with it. That's for sure. It isn't. Hey, if Mikey ain't happy, nobody's happy. That's what we always
what his family
say
says,
here.
and it's what we also say here now.
I'm shocked that people are way more upset about Battlefront than even like X-Wing. I thought X-Wing would be the problem.
X-Wing actually is boomer, and these are all kids. So
yeah. Actual boomers will get mad at no TIE Fighter Jesse's right. None of you are going to tell me any of these are bad games, so.
No, of course not. And these are all very iconic in terms of Star Wars. Knights of the Republic is and they're like a lot of them are like different eras, right? Because like Rogue Leader is kind of original trilogy. I guess Jedi Outcast.
Well,
Jedi Outcast is kind of like a side story.
Eras.
Yeah, Jedi Outcast is like a side story.
We forgot to include a sequel trilogy game.
Yeah. Oh, oopsie whoopsie, fucky
There aren't actually any of those except kind of Battlefront 2.
Yeah, kind of. That's weird. What a weird thing that they messed up so bad that there weren't like a ton. I mean, they're making a ton now, but weird. All right, one more time. Knights of the Old Republic, Rogue Leader, Jedi Outcast, and your Roosevelt of the Week, Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. There you go, everybody. Thank you for your input. And go fuck Battlefront 2 is what I'll say. Go to hell.
Thanks for watching and go to hell.
Go to hell.
People are getting more and more mad at us as these rushers go on, and I love it.
I know, me too. It's one of my favorite things. All right, Mike, you good to go right into what we've been playing?
Did you even did podcast producers write anything? Did you read any of that?
Oh, they did, and I didn't. I'm sorry, buddy. Sean did do that. Well, you know what? My bad. I didn't put it up, so I forgot about it. That's how it goes sometimes. Everyone understands what Jeffy's like. Is there any? If a bunch of people say Battlefront 2 in there, I'm still not going to put it on the list.
I mean, we could read some of it now. That's fine.
All right, sure. Let's do that, and then we'll do the super chats, and then we'll do what we've been playing. All right, let me.
Yeah, that's fine. There's still time. We're still time, Jeff. It's right here. Like Jeremy Biff says, Jedi Fallen Order and Star Wars Connect, Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga. Are people joking about Star Wars Connect?
No, because it has that iconic Han Solo song that we know is a good joke.
I like that. I thought everyone got really mad about that. I've seen a lot of.
Most people now know it's a joke.
Lenny Cool Dick Denver says Rogue Leader on GameCube still looks good to this day. I agree with that. Tears of the McBasketball says Knights of the Republic and Episode 1 Racer. So there's actually a surprisingly large amount of Episode 1 Racers, so that's pretty good.
I mean, it really crushed in that poll, so I'm like not surprised now. Jedi Wolf, this man Mikey really ignored OG Battlefront. Why do we listen to them?
Incredible.
Jay
Sherrill says Star Wars Yoda stories, the minesweeper of Star Wars games. But in all seriousness, the Dark Forces Jedi Knight series has always been the pinnacle of Star Wars games for me, bringing Star Wars into an FPS and then adding lightsaber battles and force abilities as the series progressed, brought the world of Star Wars alive for me as a kid. It is fun how that series progressed from being a pure first-person shooter to by the end being a pure lightsaber game with really no guns, as far as I could remember.
We should put the Yoda Tamagotchi up there. I really liked that when I was a kid. I had a Tamagotchi that was just Yoda, and he pooped, and I had to clean it up.
Yeah, Jedi Wolf 5 says Jedi Fallen Order has to be on there. It was the Arkham Asylum moment for Star Wars. I don't necessarily agree with that, because the whole thing of Arkham Asylum was the Arkham Asylum moment, because we had decades of bad Batman games until then. Yes, really, there were plenty of good Star Wars games before that. I mean, it's similar to Arkham Asylum in that they're both sort of 3D Metroidvanias.
Shier Miro says this is the episode 9 of lists.
Musubi says Star Wars Shadows of the Empire for the simple reason that it was the first Star Wars game to let us experience the Battle of Hoth in 3D. Actually, I think Super Empire Strikes Back has a Mode 7 Hoth level, so that kind of counts, right?
Yeah, definitely. Wow. Bob says he messed up. He scuffed it up for a reason. Jeff fucking up the narrating was all according to the plan. Wow.
One Up versus Sepia says, I sense a great disturbance in the force. The dark side of nostalgia clouds everything with 6 out of 10 at best boomer games. The only good part of Shadows of the Empire was the first level. Dark Forces was a mid-Doom clone. KOTOR 2 was the Cyberpunk 2077 of its day. These aren't the games you're looking for. We didn't pick any of those games. I am surprised, like, even here, there's a lot, like, it's pretty split between Jedi Outcast and Jedi Academy. That seems, I feel like we hit something of a larger debate here with that. But tons of people saying KOTOR, Episode 1 Racer is showing up actually quite a lot, which is good to see. You all have pretty good taste, actually. I like all of you. Fudsack did say Shadows of the Empire for the first 2-ish hours only, since I could never get past IG-88. That was a tough boss.
2 minutes ago, TurboSean said Battlefront 2. Weirdly. That's weird. You felt the need to do that?
That still tickles me, Kevin. we and you are so clearly on the same page, and they are like, what are you guys talking about?
It just didn't seem like... I definitely remember people being like, oh yeah, I play that game a lot. And even then there was like kind of, I don't know, it was a little bit of a guilty pleasure, it felt like. But okay, maybe not. I guess not.
Yeah, but now people are like, that was a game of the year. I'm like, I was there. No, it wasn't.
Yeah, no one gave a game of the year.
Nobody considered it. Nobody talked about it like that then.
Fudsack says Shadows of the Empire for the first 2-ish hours. And I'm like, yeah, I'll put the first 2-ish hours.
Just a second ago.
Sorry,
you ignored me.
Yeah, I ignored you. I was trying to actually find this page. I would put the first 2-ish hours up there. Before whatever the hell game they're talking. Battlefront 2. There we go. Okay.
You weren't there. I was there. I'm 38. Oh, wait. I'm 36. How old am I? I was there. That's how old I am. I don't know how old I am.
Mike, do we have any super chats? There's probably super chats that relate to this as well. So you want to get to those?
Yeah. Let's see here now. B. Traven says, balls are stored in my mouth. Or, excuse me. Wait a second. Okay.
Wow.
He didn't say my mouth.
Just blow up in space?
He didn't say my mouth. He said balls are stored in the mouth. Sorry about that, Traven. It doesn't have to be his.
Oh my God. Why do people listen to this show?
To yell at us about Battlefront 2, the most popular game of 2005. The Uncharted Wolf says, is Matt Booty good at his job? I say, not really.
I mean, I don't do performance reviews over there. I honestly have no idea. It seems like... Yeah. I'll say what I've heard is it's not like he's a person that has some grand vision or anything, but maybe that's not his job either. So I don't know.
Let's see here now. Georgie says, oh, wait a second. Before that, we had Funky Monk says, where's the next gen version of Minecraft at?
Yeah, very good point. Remember when they were going to do like that? They were going to do the HD Minecraft, and then they like canceled that after years or whatever. And then they're like, now we're going to do the ray tracing one, and they actually did release that, but then they've been promising a next gen Minecraft for a long time too, I think, and they never put it out. It's weird. I don't know why they do that.
Georgie says, like Plague Tale, Starfield has 30 and 40 FPS, Something's a little bit lost here, but I think he's trying to say, Plague Tale came out at 30 FPS, right? So maybe it's like, Starfield came too. Plague Tale was Plague Tale. I know some people like that game. We sure have moved on from that already, though, huh? Yeah.
I mean, some people are like really into it, but it was also...
Some people are really into Battlefront 2, apparently, Jeff.
And neither of them are first-party Xbox games that would have deserved to have more resources poured into it. So, yeah.
Tengu Ray says, just got my tickets for AEW All In, fellas. I can't wait. I'm taking my dad and uncle with me to London for the show. Time to learn about the British. No, now I wonder where he's from. Hey, have fun. I was at the first All In Chicago, what feels like forever ago now. It was a great time. You're going to be at that giant soccer stadium. What, Wembley?
Wembley, right? Not Wimbledon.
Not Wimbledon. That's a tennis thing.
That's a tennis place.
Yeah. So, hey, have a lot of fun, Tengu. Oh, Tengu also says, also, Jeff, more Iron Man game news, please. Dear Lord, man, I haven't thought about that game in a while.
Yeah, I mean, it's just still pretty early on. That's just the reality, but I'll see what I can dig up.
Uriel Delgado says, do you think we ever see Cal and crew in a Star Wars movie? It wouldn't be too hard. Like, that is just an actor who has been digitized to be Cal. Like, he could just play that character in something. The problem is, like, I haven't beaten Jedi Survivor. I assume there's going to be a third game also. So they kind of need to be a bit nebulous still, because they don't want to write the game creators in a corner with anything by having them appear in something else.
Yeah, for sure.
L. Grug says, "What did Fallen Order get on Metacritic?" It's oddly low. It's like a 78 or 79.
Yeah, that sounds right. And that was definitely dinged for performance and bugs.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
And for being like for being a FromSoft sort of clone and not the best one of those. Like it's got a lot of stuff going against it in a critical review period for sure. I still love it.
Ed Kivin says, "Does this episode count as a holiday podcast?"
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. So you can you can write it off on your taxes. I don't know if that's what that means.
Jeff, I think Penny has to go outside. How about we take one more break and then we'll come back.
We're gonna take one more break, everybody. When we come back, we will talk about what we've been playing. Be right back.
What up, Penny?
Oop, that's the wrong button. Let's see. All right.
What are you doing?
Making people mad about Star Wars Battlefront 2 from 2005. Okay, Ken, is there a way to play that? Was it like probably was just they probably didn't have servers on PlayStation 2, right?
This Mount Rushmore
they probably
makes
didn't
me
serve 64 players is a lot. Well, what
makes me want to.
What would you put on there, Christian?
Oh, Battlefront 2.
Oh my god, I can't. Okay, I can't. You fucking kids.
I mean, it's a great game. You put Outcast. Well, Outcast. I guess
all the games up there are good games. Come on,
they are all good. Yeah. Well, Racer is like it's good, but it's not good. It's not Battlefront 2.
Good. Okay, so let's see. Is anyone going to tell me how to play Battlefront 2? I mean, I'm just gonna look it up.
It makes me. Yeah. I wish I had like 2 more hours without power on my house, so I could have like look at this. No.
Is that what happened? You get a brownout or something?
Yeah. Yes. Like 14 hours, 16 hours. That was fun. I guess it's 16 hours. I don't know. They cut it while I was sleeping, and I woke up. I have no power. And then when I came back from work, there's still no power. Until like 20 minutes ago.
There's a story from 2017 about Battlefront 2 had its servers come back online. It's on Steam, but controls need to be heavily remapped. Yeah, but the PC version wasn't. There's probably mods for it, right?
You can mod it for sure. You can do crimes.
Oh, I need to post this to Twitter so people can yell at us there too.
You're gonna. Oh shit!
Here we go. Let's get that and get. Oh my
May the 4
God.
with your ass.
All right, I gotta. Okay, I see what you did there. The Rise of Skywalker of Mount Rushmore. Okay.
Thank you. Show it to the people if you want to show it.
I don't have to do that. I can. There you go. There you go, everybody.
I always forget I have access to the rundown. It's like, oh right, I can't do that. Yeah, I did that, chat. Did that for you.
You're a monster.
Don't delete it.
Well, I just got to take a screenshot, and I don't want to confuse people and think I'm renouncing my own list. I want them to feel right when they get mad at me. All right, now you can bring it back if you want.
Nah, I don't. It's just too much work.
Yeah.
Used to play in. I don't know what happened to somebody. What happened? I don't know.
It's 2024. Congratulations. You slept through the rest of the year. You did it.
Let's fucking go. Took a nice nap.
Like a
2-hour nap.
Well, that's good.
It's like, fuck it. I there's nothing. It's no electricity. The world is dead to me.
All right, let's see. See if people come in here shouting. If they just yell at me on Twitter. It's still in Battlefront 2 right now to see how playable it is. All right, thank you, Matt. Yeah.
Are you gonna play RedFall tomorrow on UPF? That's gonna be
we are probably gonna play some RedFall, but we're also gonna play Butt Punch Simulator, whatever the fuck it's called.
Hey, yo, that new shit on Fortnite is pretty good.
Yeah, I think we had
really nice. Check that out. We should play Fortnite tomorrow. I don't know.
We have some ideas about that. We're also gonna be, we might do something like that. We'll see.
Okay.
Revenge of the Sith and all that. Revenge of the Fifth, excuse me.
You still have the Mount Rushmore thing up, by the way.
Yeah, Christian put a thing up there, and it was funny. And so I just showed everybody.
I did a bit. Don't worry about it.
He did.
Oh, good.
Okay, I'm gonna bring us back in. We're back, and we've been playing games. We talked a little bit about Redfall. I haven't played much more since we talked on Tuesday. But just to bring it here real quick, it's not very good. I don't like it. I'm not going to play much more of it, I don't think, Mike.
Yeah, there's I almost have a morbid curiosity. There's almost like man, did I really dislike that as much as I did? Because it is this thing where, like, even when I see people say it's fine, I almost do a double take. And I'm not trying to, like, come after anybody specific. Or if you like the game, that's fine. It is, like, at that point for me, though, it's like, man, if this isn't below acceptable, I don't know what it is. It's kind of where I am with it.
Yeah.
So I almost kind of want to understand it more because of that.
Right. If this isn't a 2-star or lower game, then there probably aren't very many of those ever going to exist.
At least
again.
at this like AAA level, right?
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. So yeah, I'll might play some multiplayer on UPF tomorrow. I mean, that continues to be the plan. We'll see. So I guess I will be playing a little bit more of it. But maybe I'll come back and be like, yeah, I guess it's fine multiplayer. Even then, I expect that not to be the case.
I played it in multiplayer. It didn't help. It kind of made things worse because the difficulty didn't seem to scale. So like the fights lasted even shorter. So there's even less to do. Like sometimes my brothers would just fire their guns 3 times and all the enemies would be dead, and I didn't get to do anything.
And that's the only thing to really do in the game is to fight things.
Yeah.
So
that's a million percent the only thing to do.
Yep.
From what I could see.
Then I started I didn't start, but I've been continuing Star Wars Jedi Survivor. I'm really liking it. I'm still pretty early in the game. I'm definitely in that first third that many people talk about. Oh, it gets going way more after that first third. I'm in that first third, and I'm loving it. I have no issue. I'm exploring stuff. I have heard that one of the recommendations people give you is to push through that critical path early on and don't do as much exploring, because you're going to come up to a lot of doors that are ability locked, and you're going to have to get those abilities to actually get past them. So there's kind of not too much point to explore early on, although I'm still doing some.
That's
really
kind of a classic Metroidvania thing, where it is sometimes better to do the critical path till almost the end, and then like right before you fight the final boss, then go back everywhere and get all the stuff. Now that you have everything. And I think I will probably do something pretty similar here. I started it last night and got to play for a few hours.
Yeah, how you liking it?
I'm liking it a lot. I think some of the like additional maneuverability, that stuff feels really good.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. The game does look gorgeous a lot. I like that opening Coruscant section just because it is so dense.
It looks really good.
It is kind of like that. It's like that promise of that 1313 game or whatever.
A little bit, yeah.
I mean, it's literally the Coruscant Underground. I'm like, oh wow, this is like what we always thought that game might look like, and here it is. It's real, and it does look really good. I am a little dismayed by some of the performance stuff.
Sure. What are you playing on?
PlayStation 5, and I thought there was a patch. I made sure it was like up to date, and even I was still seeing a lot of drops on performance.
I feel like I noticed the framiness more after the patch on performance.
Interesting.
Mode. So and that could be placebo. There could be a million things there, but if you had to like put a gun in my hands and say, well, was it better or worse? I think it's worse now. So who knows?
Yeah. And it is that thing, like these games look so good now that when something does happen, like your AI companion like starts walking into like a wall, it like sticks out even more than it did back in the day in some weird way. It's just little things like, there's a lot of, we're transitioning between gameplay to a story sequence, and it doesn't do that seamlessly like an Uncharted can, right?
And it's especially because like if you're running in performance mode, those sequences, which are in-engine cutscenes, they're still going to like drop down to like 24 frames per second or something. And that is jarring. Weird looking. That's weird.
Yeah.
When you see all the same stuff just a second ago, it's at 45 to 60 frames per second.
Right. So I don't think that was the right choice. But like that's basically all the stuff I don't like. Everything else is really fun. These characters are great. I like this whole kind of home base area you have outside of the ship.
Yep.
Like that cantina. I think that's a lot of fun. This sort of characters that populate that area. There's kind of a bit of a little early twist with some stuff happening that I wasn't expecting. That's neat. Hey, like a fun little thing, that cosmetic shop. And when I say cosmetic shop, I don't mean like spend real money. I mean, yeah, you can buy some clothes and stuff. And one of them is very clearly just Dash Rendar's outfit. And the other one, I'm pretty sure, is like a Kyle Katarn inspired outfit. So that's really cool. That made me really happy to see.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that in this game. And there's, a lot of customization, and it's, and you can make Cal Kestis look real dumb. And I'm a big fan of that. So I'm going to do a lot of that.
Yeah, like I can't quite make him look dumb because I'm too much of a no fun fanboy. That's what they always say about me. Like I still want him to look cool, but I'll make him look like Dash Rendar. That's neat.
Yeah, that is neat. And maybe it's just the style he's into. I'm totally gonna give him the mullet the second I get it, Mike. That's what I'm doing.
No, see, I'm the opposite. I got the mullet, And I was like, nope. So I'm the opposite of you. I got
I wonder
that
if I have
mullet.
it. I'll have to check it out.
If there's a part where some quicksand, did you get to a quicksand area?
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, you could have like kind of gone over them and passed it behind something, and there was a chest, I think, that had the mullet there.
Okay. I'll check it out.
Yeah. And I was like, no, I'm not putting this on. I think I got, the only thing I did, I am kind of blamed with that stuff in general. Like, it's like, here's all the different ways you can customize your lightsaber. And I'm like, yeah, it looks fine right now.
Well, I'm kind of the same
really
with the lightsaber. I guess I haven't unlocked a ton of stuff for the lightsaber yet, but there's 10 options per component or whatever it is. You like the lightsaber's in 5 pieces or so,
right?
And each of those pieces can be one of 10 things, and all the pieces can match and stuff. Yeah, it's nice. It's nice that they do it.
I changed the color of like the lightsaber. Sure, I'll change that. That's a big deal. Say they were like BD-8 though. It's like, here's like the 15 different legs for BD-8. I'm like, he looks fine right now. There's a part of me, it's like, I mean, I think an artist designed BD-8 and they probably like know about like design philosophy and like the color wheel and something. They probably already picked what they thought would be the best colors for him. I'm going to listen to them.
Yeah, I get what you mean, for sure. I guess I'm glad that the options are there and that you can easily ignore them. Like, it's nice to just ignore them if you want.
I call him BD-8, BD-1.
BD-1, yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
You think of BB-8.
BB-8, BD-1, forgive me.
Yep.
These 2 adorable droids with that name start with B.
And then what's the Apex, not Apex, Titanfall 2, B2?
Oh, B2, yeah, I think that's right. A lot of Bs.
Yep. I like building my garden on top of the cantina. I think I've started finding some fish.
That yet. I've been getting all these seeds. I didn't know what I was doing with those yet, so that's exciting.
There's the fish tank in there, and I'm like, I think I'm about to get my first fish. I think I'm starting to meet that guy that gives you that does the fishing for you. And so I'm going to take that back to the fish tank. I can't wait to do that. I really like actually going back to the cantina regularly and talking to the people I've met on my adventures who are now just hanging out in there, and it's getting more populated. And every conversation you have with them
passed up the mullet. You stupid. You're never going to get that mullet. I have it, and I don't even want it. I threw it away. You crave that mullet, and you'll never have it.
I'm going to get it. I'm going to go right there and get it as soon as we're done talking.
You'll never be able to find it. Nothing can help you, especially not the internet.
I might have already gotten it. I just didn't notice. But we'll see. I don't know. I'm really enjoying it. That cantina is so lively and cool. It made me... RedFall's got a fire department that is kind of like a similar concept, and it fucking sucks compared to that.
It's terrible.
It is a joke, and it's like, man, this is the Jedi Survivor. It's doing it so good that Jeff Grubb, am stopping to talk to almost every single person every time I return there. And I'm really enjoying it because, one, the acting's really good, the writing's really good, the characters are very interesting, they look phenomenal. A lot of them have some are like architects. There's the fancy alien who is kind of prissy, but he's got a good attitude about it. He is also a little bit self-deprecating, and he jokes with Cal in a really interesting way. And then there's the cool, clearly bounty hunter lady in the corner being all Aragorn about it and stuff with her hat over her eyes, and that's fucking cool. I can't wait to interact with her. And Turgle is filled with anxieties and neuroses and always freaking out about everything, and it's just fun to go hear what he's like flipping out about now. So yeah, I'm way into this game, and again, I'm still in that part where the story hasn't fully picked up, although I'm kind of into like, oh man, there's this interesting character and stuff's happening there. I remember him from the trailer. What's going on? So yeah, I'm fully bought in. I'm super happy with it so far.
Yeah, I'm having a lot of fun. I'm excited to play more. I hope they do polish things up. I mean, I kind of don't want to give them a pass on it. And I know sometimes it seems like that when I just talk about how good it is. It came out too early. It could have used more time. It should not have come out this rough-ish. It's a lot more forgivable when the game is clearly good, right? And that's the big difference here. But it is still this worrisome thing where, like, I get it. These games seem harder than ever to make, and you're already probably delaying them at least once or twice. It's hard to pull the trigger on that third delay. But man, this game might have been able to use it.
It's it does feel like a game that is 130 to 150 gigabytes in terms of the detail. And when you're running through that world, it's noticeable, and that I think that helps to accept some of it to a certain extent. But you're right. I think the good news is most people have heard it, and if it's something you know is going to bother you, just wait. Just wait. You can either get it on a discount or they'll fix it, one or the other, and either one's a good option. But if you do think you could look past it, you're going to be able to look past it because it's just true. There's a good game there, and you're going to find ways to get to the good game. I did have, but the biggest thing I encountered was I was sliding down one of those muddy hills, and I got stuck down there. I'm like, why am I stuck? And I'm like, you know what? I bet something didn't load. And it took me like 3 minutes, and I reloaded the save. It put me right back there, and then suddenly there was a mount I could get on, and I could climb up the muddy hill. It's like, okay, the game's broken. That's normal people who aren't fucking video game pilled like I am are going to get to that, and they're just gonna get very frustrated. Yeah, they're gonna be very annoyed, and I don't blame them. And then you lose
confidence. And then whenever you're stuck at all, you've got to wonder, am I actually stuck, or is the game broken?
And that is the kind of stuff. That's the kind of stuff that can be a real problem for a game like this. And so, yeah, just wait. That's totally fine. They should have put out a game that worked better.
There's a part of me that wishes I almost just waited. Like, I waited for that first patch. That's why I finally started it. And I am kind of like, well, I want to kind of play this before Zelda. There's a part of me, it's like what? Come on, just wait 2 months until you know this game's probably in a really good spot. But oh well, I'm playing out and I am still having fun. I'll get through it.
Anything else, Mike?
I think we did a show. Hey, Jeff, next week, episode 300 of Game Mess Decides. If you can believe it. I bet even our most ardent fans on here have probably only seen the last 100 episodes. We did this show for a while before anyone cared.
Yeah, don't go back and watch the old ones. You're fine.
No, they're terrible.
Mike was super racist early on. It was a big problem. It was
embarrassing. Yeah, Jeff just wouldn't stop with his 9/11 jokes. Yeah, it was real weird.
Constant. Yeah.
It was awkward.
Yeah, it was weird because it was 2002 when this podcast started, so it was like right afterward. Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know exactly what we're going to do. We'll see, because I know you're going to be coming back from a trip like that day, like that morning or something.
I'll be back Wednesday. Okay. So Thursday for this show, I should be good. But that means I won't have a lot of time to like plan stuff.
Yeah, at the very least, we decide things. I think we should decide what is the best video game.
Okay, yeah, here we go. Okay.
There we go.
Yeah.
We're going to decide it. People love when we decide things. They have complete faith in us.
Yes, that's why they elected us as their leaders.
I hope they still yell at us that it should be Battlefront 2.
That would rule, actually. Please keep it up, everybody. And then Tuesday, though, Last of the Nintendo Dogs, I will not be here for that. Mike's going to have to figure something else out.
I'll find somebody.
All right.
Don't worry. I'll ask Reggie if he's not in jail for that murder yet.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they're never going to take that man alive. He's got a certain set of skills. Mike, where can people find you on the internet?
Find me on Twitter and Twitch at Tolkoto. Jeff and I do some fun stuff on Giant Bomb. There's a voicemail dump truck. I don't know if our Star Wars Blake Club is up yet, but that should be up in a little bit. That was a silly time. We didn't even talk about that, but yeah, we played Bastards of Terrascasi. Somebody in chat was a stand for Jedi Power battles, and that game's okay.
It's fine. Whatever.
It's fine.
I could see liking it a lot at the time.
I like Star Wars Demolition more, and that's probably not considered a good game.
Probably not. It was good. I think it was like really middling when they reviewed it. I'm on a website called giantbomb.com. We have a lot of fun over there.
They can't hear the music, Jeff. Only I can.
I'm on a site called giantbomb.com. I muted because I have this stupid keyboard. They end up with the gamer browser. It's my fault, whatever. Where we do fun, stupid video game stuff. We basically have video games, and then we find ways to have fun with them no matter what. It's a good time. We do a lot of good stuff. We try to cover new video games as much as we can. Got a podcast, Giant Bombcast. It's pretty good. You guys should tune into all that. And then, Less Than Nintendo Dogs on Tuesdays. Mike has his Twitch account. I got mine, twitch.tv/Jeff Grubb. I haven't been on in a while, mostly because I've been working nonstop with so much other stuff. And then my wife was out of town. But now I think I'm going to get back on here pretty soon. Maybe try to finish that Minish Cap and then get on to something else. But yeah, we'll be back with another new episode next week. Mike, you got any plans for the weekend?
I hope not. I hope I can just chill out, maybe play some Star Wars.
Yeah, that would. I can't. I gotta travel on Sunday, so shit.
There you go. There's Last of the Skunky Beer. I'm done with it forever.
Oh, that's it? You did get the second one. Okay, congratulations.
There we go. Thank God.
Man.
Ugh. Lesson learned.
I really wish you would have just burned it out. It upset me that you drank it.
It all goes Thank you. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it.
Bye, everybody.
It's a bitch point for everybody.
Oh, congratulations, everybody.